say, hey, yeah, library committee says
Just
hi.
say, I'm on that.
Thank you, Mom.
Oh, and I had this extra one out, but it's all time.
Involved in office again.
I know I wasn't at the meeting, because I mean, on your minutes, I asked Sandy to add it as meeting 27.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And then-
I would not do that.
Right, and the other thing is, you can stand there all the time, you have that the surname should be in there,
Oh, okay.
because we do that with everybody else.
Great.
To get
Yep,
those were the only things I
okay,
sent
I'll
to her,
take note of those.
but
next
I
time.
didn't copy you.
Oh, no, I'm not, I don't own.
I'll be out there for a little while if you guys need anything.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
That's my big thing. There's good reason to know if you watch it. Yes. Ask her.
I just like consistency.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I ate all. But your notes were good.
I'm online and I have a Zoom link and I'm in.
You're on.
I
I can see you on there.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, I saw you up there, right.
It's from the hallway. When you talk, it focuses on you.
I just finished.
I've got my volume. We all want to be muted or so we don't. Those with laptops are with us store each other.
I guess it was much of Africa.
Yeah, because we didn't have a meeting last.
Right.
And ask them and then
The shoes that face here.
Oh, wow, so you don't know.
Yes, it's yes.
So.
Second, I think she was involved.
Going
Yeah.
and painting.
And they were
That's
going,
what tonight.
Right.
I had 3 boys in the second.
yes, it's hard, so when she told them, like Jane. If it's okay with the board, I'll put
Fire
it.
keepers.
But it's only has to be okay if you want to help. But it was also kind of, let's see what you're doing.
No, I think kind of make it.
Terry,
I never.
Terry's one of the people that
Get
I
it.
said that I can let myself.
Every time that I see the agenda, I put it on my calendar,
We let them know.
Sunday I'll look at.
Yeah.
Now it is, everything is so flaky.
Oh, here we go. Maybe that's what you meant. There we go.
Marcia? Yeah. I haven't heard anything from the library on the book that I talked to you about last week.
Well, I'm not the librarian.
I understand, I just wondered if it takes this long.
You're one of them, Terry, and the other one's.
I didn't have
Mine's
time to
Christie,
pop in
my wife.
yesterday.
I know it's been.
That's me.
Okay,
No, I don't know what that, I don't have any idea how long it.
okay, that's,
When
okay,
you're-
I appreciate it.
That's the distortion. Terry's mic is on.
I think mine was muted, but when I,
Unmuted it.
something that's.
Yeah.
When I
did that earlier today,
back
too.
on, yeah.
When I unmuted it, did the same thing.
Okay, we've got masterful tech going on here this afternoon.
Is it better?
Harry is here for me then.
I think.
I think we probably have.
You see the share screen button at the bottom? When you're ready, you hit that and it'll allow you to show it.
Yes. And are we ready or should we?
No, I just,
I'm gonna call the meeting to order and we're going to adjust the agenda to you first and approve the minutes and then it's all yours. Okay, I think I'll call the meeting to order.
We have a quorum.
Pardon me?
We have a quorum, so.
Yes, yeah, and Catherine should be here. I know she's coming. So, we should be right along. Hello, everyone. Hello, happy March. Thanks. So we are doing one adjustment to the agenda, which is Alexander Shaw is here, Xander, again. I think Maura, you haven't met Xander yet.
I bet him once.
Okay, all right, just wanted to make that
Nice to meet
introduction,
you again.
otherwise Candace, Martha, Kate, Laura, Jan, and Sandy. And Rhonda is here in the public, she's on the board of directors, so she was also part of the conversation. And what I'd first like to do is approve the minutes from February 1st. You all have the minutes there and hopefully read them, yes?
I just wanted to make a motion to approve.
Oh, okay. Anybody need a minute or two, but otherwise they should, we should have gotten them.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you. Kate's made a motion, do I have a second? Okay.
Marcia,
You get it next to Marcia. And then, okay, all those in favor, any discussion? No, okay, all those in favor of having the minutes?
No, one abstain.
One out. Oh. All right, so we're going to move Xander up to the next slot here. Jan and I had the pleasure of going to his studio last Friday, just because he wanted to make sure he was on the right track, but this is still a preliminary presentation about the three-dimensional kinds of images that we need in order to start our ambassador groups. I am preparing a packet of information for each of you on ideas for the ambassador groups, what you need, documents, as well as how to approach people, or a number of different things that you might want as crib sheets. And I will give that to you at the next meeting. That said, I'm going to hand it over to Xander, and thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for inviting me, and I'm going to. Yeah. Host has disabled the participant.
You can click on multiple, that should get you in.
Yes.
Oh,
It was chilly. I know. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Now, this is the year I feel like I'm slowing down. I don't want to do it, but well, I do.
All right, folks.
To go out, so I do like to do. And slow.
okay, I think we're up and running here.
Okay.
So I just wanted to kind of go over why I'm here and what I'm doing this evening. Basically, I was asked to kind of review the packet you guys put together of information for a proposed new building and develop some 3D massing studies and sort of site analysis based off of the one-story program diagram that you guys have included in that packet. So that's what we're here to look at and talk about. This, as you guys might all recognize, or maybe not, is an aerial view of the existing Gilbert Butler school library and community center. The only thing that I'm seeing that maybe isn't here is the garden area right here in the corner. But just orient everyone, here's the driveway and parking, here's the existing building, the skate park, and playground equipment. And the sewer location, septic is, we believe, over here. And then there's a manhole cover in the driveway that I'm told is the well.
Each field is back up here.
I'm sorry, it's back on in this area.
The back side of the property.
Okay. So this is just so that we can get our eyes kind of used to what Just see if I can remove that gray bar up there, but. That's part of the Zoom, in any case. So this is what the site plan looks like as a drawing, as a diagram, and the blue is the existing building, and these light green areas are sort of the areas of interest or of note in terms of there being a skate park. Over here in the corner, the playground equipment, I guess do you call it a public garden or public garden corner there?
It's a community garden.
Community garden. And the septic. So
Do you want to check it piping? No, I just spoke it because of,
It can't be
oh,
closed.
okay.
There's a door, there's a sign on the door that says.
Oh, leave it, I think it's okay. There's just a lot of noise.
I think we have to keep the door open.
Yeah, we do.
So this next slide. Shows that first floor sort of diagram where all the program is associated on one floor with sort of the library component on one side, the community center component on the other side. With a connecting space in between that is sort of your core uses like a stair to the basement, a bathroom, shower, and reception area. And this red area superimposed on the existing building shows roughly that scale. It's more or less comparable to the first floor size of the existing building above it. And when I started developing the site, I started looking at, where are we going to place the building? And, the first pass, I kind of looked at looking at where the old building is. It seems to sort of make sense. And then I thought, well, what if we push the building back? And what would that allow us to do? And I in terms of developing the site and in terms of just some of the logistics of going from using an old building to a newer building. And I started to think of it as a phase project where the first phase would be building the new building while leaving the existing building in place and in use. And building that building behind the existing building. Now there are a handful of hurdles to jump over before, this is all sort of a schematic planning phase, but I've offset it somewhere between 20 and 25 feet, which to me seemed like a reasonable amount of room for the contractors to be able to do the work. There's obviously logistical issues that a contractor would have to deal with having a operational public use facility and an active construction site on the same job site. I've worked on projects, schools and other things where we've done this. It's sort of a pain in the neck, but you weigh and measure your pain in the neck. So is it worse to shut down the community center for a year or two? Is it worse to relocate it or put up temporary facilities and that sort of thing? So in some regards, I think that it could actually be a benefit in terms of how the site's developed. And then phase two would be removal of the old school and the development of the site in terms of parking and circulation. In this scheme here, I'm showing 44 parking spaces, and the existing, I did a rough count, it's not striped over there, but existing, depending on how friendly you are and careful you are with your fellow parkers, you're probably around 38 spots. And so this would be, and maybe is a little bit generous, but this would be still a kind of a marked improvement in terms of percentage of parking. And tonight, which was somewhat of a busy night, there were, 22 cars.
You counted?
I counted.
It always looks packed.
Well, I mean, the front is quite busy. There's some room around the backside there that if you wanted to squeeze in a couple more cars, you probably could.
Music Jam usually is around 20 to 22.
Yeah, okay, so,
Counting too, yeah.
I count every time I go
I
by.
have counted.
and I mean, hopefully, some of the intent is to increase the use of
Yeah,
everything
yes.
else, so having some room for growth.
Yeah.
Growth
Makes
in the community, and everything
it's
else
positive.
makes some good sense. So then I started to think about, again, using that kind of footprint as a foundation. What could the mass start to look like? How would this thing start to look in 3 dimension? And I also considered kind of solar orientation and how, because I know at least in the packet, that that's something that, you guys are interested in and building the building with a lot of insulation and efficiency, concerns in mind and using an electric building so that solar panels can have a real big impact on the project. So this is a familiar view, even though it's sort of a sketch. This is the existing building. And I thought, okay, well, what does that look like with a phase one of a new building behind it? And so in this one, I've developed the project in a very kind of typical, if you ask a kid to draw a building or something like that, what does it look like, you know? And in New England, this is a pretty popular vernacular and kind of something that would be kind of fit into the community relatively well, I would think. It also, in this has, not due south, but sort of a southwest exposure, which provides pretty good solar,
What is the optimal exposure?
due south,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So we're-
what is your percent though? I think is what you're asking, because like,
What's the angle that I'm on?
well, usually when you put your solar panels up, they'll either be 100%, 98 to 90, just depending on how it's faced.
So you're saying what is the optimization of each panel based on this?
No, it's
orientation?
actually, yeah, to get, you know, if you're gonna have so many panels, you know, what is the optimal orientation given our climate and the sun, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You
So-
know,
so
it's not, is it 100% south? I didn't think so. I thought it was.
It's pretty close. Is it, it's within, actually, I think it might be 100%. But it sounds like you might know a little bit more than I do, so I don't want to challenge you on that. And if it's not 100% south, it's within, let's say, 5 degrees of that. And none of these are 100% south. You know, with any project on any site, you're always weighing pluses and minuses and the pros and cons of things. So I'll show you a different orientation in a couple more slides. But I've spoken with Revision Energy, who is a solar panel installer in the state. I also reached out to Sundog, but I haven't heard back from them yet. My understanding from that discussion was it was due south, but there might be a variation there. Also, in terms of the pitch of the roof, we're looking at around a 7 pitch, or I forget exactly what that translates to in degrees, but around a 7 pitch. And none of these are quite a 7 pitch either, but we're still working within a margin. You know, I talked to them about how low can we go, how high can we go, what does that look like in terms of the mass, you know, how high does that ridge get, how low does the ridge get, how big of a building. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot by getting the perfect pitch, but then creating so much more volume that you have to heat and cool that you have to install solar panels in order to do it, and that sort of thing. So it's all a little bit of a balance. In this case, this one has this. So this would be phase 2 after the building was brought down. This one has 72 solar panels. And at 72 solar panels, Revision estimated, again, there's some fine tuning to be done, but estimated roughly 85,000 kilowatt hours of production annually. And also estimated, again, there's engineering and everything else to be done, that a building of this size would roughly consume between 40 to 50,000 kilowatt hours. So of all of the ones I'm going to show you, this has the least amount of solar panels on it and the least amount of annual production, and it's still more than what this building hypothetically would use.
Sandra, sorry for interrupting, but
No.
did Revision have an opinion about ground mount versus roof, or did that not come up?
It did not come up, although I do have a little bit of opinion myself. I think this is going to be a less expensive installation.
Yes.
And it's like stacking usage on top of each other. So now you can use the property for a playground or a garden or whatever else. one thing that I think is important, if you do with a rooftop installation, I think it's best to use a standing metal seam roof. You're gonna get the longest life out of a roof like that, and it also has standing seams, which provide a really great place to clip mounting brackets and rails to.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've seen it on asphalt shingle roofs and everything else, but if you can get a 50-year roof and 20 more years out of it, instead of taking the panels down and putting them back up to replace your asphalt shingle, I think it will pay for itself at some point.
Also, I just wanted to chime into we're looking into the solar for our house as well, and the one thing that we were aghast at is the post costs of putting in a solar package on the land rather than on the roof.
Oh,
Substantially.
well, that was another point I was gonna get to, thanks for bringing that up, I forgot, but, yes. So you basically have to build the building underneath your solar panels if you were to put it on the ground, so you have to, again, if you drive around, you'll see different installations, and you'll see that you're basically building a sail. And so that thing, you think, oh, how heavy is a solar panel? It's not very heavy, but when you build a sail, you need a strong enough structure to keep it from ripping out of the ground effectively. And the building is going to do that on its own by virtue of its engineering, so another reason to potentially put it on a building. So this is looking south. And I apologize, but my titles are right where that bar is, but I'll narrate. This is looking south at the existing building, and this is a potential view looking south of the gable project. And then again, this is looking north. And this is the massing looking north. So again, at this phase of the process, you should be looking at all different kinds of options. And also this is based off of I would call it kind of a diagram of a plan. So as the plan develops, this would develop along with it and vice versa. But looking at another potential massing of the building, I've done a shed roof, pitched in one direction, in the long direction, and that was able to get us 162 panels, so almost double. So at 162 panels at this angle of inclination, which is around 22.5 degrees, we're looking at around 85,000 kilowatt hours of output. So not quite double the estimate, but we're looking, if you wanted to start, if you wanted to go big on solar, you could start to offset other buildings within your municipality. You have to be the same owner and have the same bill structure and that sort of thing. But it is possible through net metering, basically, in the summer, you're making more energy than you can use. In the winter, you're making less by virtue of the shorter days and the lower sun angle and potentially snow and other things, which they calculate into their estimates. And you're banking off of the net metering, which is you sending the energy back to the grid. And I apologize, this might be repetitive for some people, maybe new for others. But basically, you're using the grid as a battery. So you don't have to buy a battery. And then it credits you in the winter with excess energy you created in the summer. And through doing it in a network under the same sort of client to CMP, you could offset, like I was saying, this building or other buildings that are in the community.
But Sander, I missed how many 1,000 kilowatt hours with the 162 panels.
85,000.
Okay, but I thought the 72 panels was 85,000. You had said.
I misspoke, my notes are right next to each other. And
Okay.
The gable is 39,000.
39, okay, because that's,
Thank you for that.
because I heard 85 and I went, that's not,
And ripped off
You know,
twice as many.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
The building is also intended to become an eventual shelter, in which case, if you just use the grid as a battery, you're stuck when the power is cut. So that's why the batteries on site still have a purpose.
Yeah, I agree. Batteries on site have a lot of potential usage, and I'm where I live in Rockland. I'm kind of on a main energy route there,
Yeah.
and fortunately we don't lose power very often. I don't know to what extent the school site loses energy power. A battery, and again, it depends on how it's designed. And you want to engineer it to suit your uses. So if the use is intermediate power outages and you don't want to lose data or information or that sort of thing, that's one thing. If you want it to have the enough battery usage for a 4-day ice storm and no power,
That's a
then
real
you have to
battery.
do a cost comparison between a battery and like a propane generator or some sort of.
Well, you can also- You can also add multiple batteries, like
But
the
there's-
Tesla battery.
I do think there's also limits to using heat pumps with the batteries.
That's
what revision is.
Well, I have a Tesla battery and
Yeah.
I have a solar and I have heat pumps and I have geothermal. And I also have a heat pump water heater. But I only put one battery in because of the cost, but also I have a wood stove.
Yeah.
I have a boiler, so I didn't need.
You have your backup.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
didn't need, I have some heat in tandem, so I didn't need the Geo to work and I didn't need the heat pump. And I don't need the oven to work or my steam shower. So those 4 items
I'm moving
don't.
in with you.
But it runs the rest of the house and we get a lot of power outages here. And also what is
Do you know how
really,
long it would run your house?
it will run it, if we get sun the next day for 3 days,
Yeah.
it'll rejuvenate the next day.
Yeah, that's a good point because you are recharging.
We're charging, when the grid's down, it's feeding in. And, but the one thing, that helps is that we get, like, the storm we just had, we get these spurges of where the power goes off. And in seconds, you don't even know the power went off, except I can see my oven clock goes off.
Oh, right.
And then it starts again at midnight again.
Yeah.
With the time, 12. And those things are hard on, it broke a couple of my electronics before I ever had the battery.
Oh,
And
dude.
now I don't have that problem because the battery takes care of the surges.
Yeah,
And I'm not having that issue, like it destroyed my 300 CD player, which you can't get anymore.
I can imagine. You
And
might
So we
look
can
on
get-
Etsy or something.
You can get some of, not often, but that does.
Well, we
happen.
had
It does
three
happen.
surges on,
Yeah,
when was
just
the
the other
storm?
day.
Sunday or Monday?
Sunday, yeah.
Just
And-
today, yeah.
And they just hit really hard.
Power outages in our neck of the woods don't last more than 12 hours, usually 10 hours, maybe. I mean, that would be a long,
The longest I've ever had is 8 hours.
8 hours.
But I know, Brown Road, where you live, my daughter was out for 6
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, we've lost over 3 days.
Since I've been
per
there,
se.
we haven't lost much at all, just the surges.
But these are, these are really important conversations to have early and determining, what are your parameters for the design of it and the use of it. And then there are engineered solutions. You can engineer kind of 2 different ways, look at the pros and cons and say, okay, this is a no-brainer, batteries are the way to go. This is a no-brainer, we can get a much smaller system and do a propane one and hopefully not use makeup, whatever.
Right.
You can start to weigh the pros and cons, but having it be part of the initial program, I think is important. So that the design team is understanding, and also for the greater community, I think it's a great selling point. If there's a problem, like where can people go to be warm or, or spend the night and that sort of thing. So this is it looking south. And then this is it looking north. And all of these volumes, I try not to show anyone anything that I don't like myself. And I think there's a lot of potential in these, unless it's so bad I'm proving a point sometimes. But in this case, like, I think these all have potential, and really like to determine what's the best one is going to partly be based on developing the plan further and kind of just developing the project as a whole a little bit. I'm sure as you guys can tell, I'm planning on there being windows there, as you guys probably are too. But at the moment, it's sort of presumptuous to start to go too far down the road. But you can start to think of opportunities for glazing and maybe soft, even northern exposure in some areas and long eave overhangs in the southern to protect from the sun, but also allow winter light in. Those types of things I'm thinking about as I look at these. So this is a slightly different footprint where the plan is largely oriented north-south. It is slightly southeast. And what I've done is I've slid the volumes a little bit so that entry volume kind of becomes a little bit more center stage and a little bit more visible from the road. And then some of these you can swap the different roofs, but if this one we were to swap the roof, it would largely be facing west, which would be a little bit of a dip in efficiency in the panels. And in this one I did a long shed. Now, this I've reduced the angle, which reduces the efficiency of the panel, but you get a lot of panels. So this one is 160 panels, and we're roughly looking at 72,000 kilowatt hours. So you can see the one that just had 2 more panels was
85.
a fair amount more percentage wise, because the efficiency was a bit better because of the angle towards the sun. The other shed was around a 22.6 degree angle, and this one is only about 14. But you can imagine if this was, you know, an 8 pitch or anything steep, you would start to get a very tall building and would be.
Sandra, I just need to understand when you say an 8 pitch, what is that in like a 45-degree angle?
So a 45-degree angle is a 12-12.
Okay, because my solar panels are 45 to give it the maximum, but I have a ground mount. Because my house wouldn't have allowed for having rooftop.
Yeah, so the way the pitch works is you go over 12 and then you go up whatever the rise is. So an 8-12 pitch is you go over 12 and you go up 8, and that angle is the resulting of that,
Okay.
that ratio.
Thank you.
And a 12-12 would be, as you can imagine,
Yeah.
a 45 degree.
Yeah.
45 degree angle. But again, I could see some really interesting architectural sort of moments. This is from north, from looking south, and you can start to see, you know, I've drawn in some, what I'm thinking of is like apple trees in the front. I press apple in the fall, so I'm partial to them, but perhaps you guys could. Yes, and they're healthy snacks.
Apple juice
If you
too.
press them into juice, you don't have to worry about what they look like. And so here you can start to see though the entry is pushed down a little bit more. It's not recessed in quite as much. And then from this side, again, the trees are slightly in the way, but at night, you know, in the winter short days at night, I could see that entry volume being lit up and nice and welcoming and inviting and whatnot.
It's also an area for an outdoor patio.
Yeah, there's all, I mean, we're at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I'm excited about a bunch of different things, but it's sort of taking the steps in a lot of orders. So that's the end of the presentation.
Can I just ask a question? A few questions.
Yeah, so questions, I mean, you're gonna be presenting this to residents, you know, and friends and neighbors and all that, so we need to ask questions and know what it is.
So just in terms of, the parking lot, and you had some grade areas, were those accessibility, like handicap parking or things like that?
Yeah.
2 in front, and then you had 1 over on this side.
In the back there, so. Actually, this is a good point, and something I
Yeah,
should have touched on is going to the. It's great. The fades are great until you.
You tried to go around them.
Okay, so that central core shows a stair here, the bathroom shower area here, and you know, not a narrow corridor, it's sort of a normal corridor, and then a reception area. I in my head am starting to envision this area here as being kind of a connector to the front of the property, the back of the property, and like pushing you into the different uses on your right or left. And I can see it being, I want there to be light in there and welcoming and bringing you into the building. So depending on how the stair is designed, it could be a little more solid or it could be a little more open. But certainly the bathroom and the shower would be more of a solid element. So as this gets developed, I've noticed there's an area for 900 square feet in the basement. I don't know if if some of that program goes into the basement, some of it stays upstairs, so if we can manage a little bit better, if some of it pushes into the wings, and the wings get a little bit bigger or shifted around, I don't know exactly how it will be solved, but these are some of the things that are kind of turning my head. I'm getting to the parking thing in a second here.
I'm listening.
So if you start to shift some of that program into the basement and still keeping an eye on the overall square footage, because obviously square feet costs money. But right now, one of the things listed in the basement is like overflow storage and book storage. Without an elevator,
That's the key. We don't want to spend for an elevator.
yeah, well, I know. I get it, but how practical is it to have book storage and storage in the basement and people carrying it up and downstairs? This isn't my building, this is your building, so it's up to you guys.
But if it's just storage, that's the point. Like people who are using the facility only have to use the main
Well,
floor.
but his comment-
Hire someone who's disabled, they have. to
His
have
comment is
access.
good because it's workman's comp with people carrying books up and down.
Or they can go outside and go all the way around.
But that's still,
They can
there's
go
still
off.
an issue. It's an issue.
It doesn't, again, it's something I point out, it's your build, it's your community
Yeah.
building and we'll work with it that way, but.
Sarah,
So,
didn't we have a rendering that was just one floor? I thought we had we had a
This
rendering.
is
that
the
was-
Well, this is one floor, but there was storage underneath.
so the other,
You remember Penny
diagram in your package
storage
was-
space for book.
Yes, now I
was
remember.
basically, when we talk about two and single story, was separating the meeting and multi-purpose space on one floor and then having the library and space on another floor. So that is conceptually what was, I think, previously called a two-floor
Yeah.
option. This has two
Yeah.
floors, it's just 900 square foot basement, which is largely mechanical. Listed as mechanical and storage.
We can't build based on who's working there now. If we can't not hire someone because they can't access the downstairs. That's illegal, right? So no matter what we do with storage, it has to be accessible.
Well,
There would be a walk-in basement
stairs, you would be able to walk.
without
so-
stairs.
Yeah, so basically, the idea is very similar to what is there now, in that this area here, the grade goes down and there would be a walkout basement.
Okay.
So you would have access to the lower level, via the outside. Now, this is a long way of coming around to the handicap parking.
Yeah.
I am showing a handicap parking space
Okay.
down here. If you had an elevator, they would have door, right, front door access to the basement, to an elevator upstairs. If you don't have an elevator, I would not recommend putting a handicap space there. However, you would still need a space to turn around and whatnot, and you probably would still.
So it'd be like a loading dock kind of space. So then my concern is that walkway to the front is gonna be 20 feet, 15 feet, because you knocked down the old building.
Yeah.
So then I'm worried about elderly or disabled people getting like that 20 feet in the snow and ice.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. Another way that can be handled is this is basically, I'm not a civil engineer and I don't, but the whole
Yeah,
parking
we're
lot
not
can be
gonna
pushed right out to the
Yeah,
road.
I just.
And then all that green space can be roadside of the park.
Or you could have,
additional.
you could have a little sidewalk.
It could be additional spaces, but it gets tricky with the drive-through and managing how you get to 3 rows, you need another drive-through, but yes, there's potential maybe to get some additional spaces.
So that parking area would come very close to the building in that case, or.
Close.
Yeah, so basically, this radius here would get a little
Yeah.
sharper and it would come closer to the building. There'd be some rework here, obviously, of these spaces, but maybe we could pick some spaces up by virtue of the sliding forward. So the length of this sidewalk, let's say, with relative ease, could be minus 30% or 40%. There is sidewalk currently, I'm showing sidewalk in front of all the parking,
Yeah.
which I think is nice so people don't have to walk in the road. But certainly there is I mean, we live in New England and there's ice and snow and there's maybe.
Well, and we just
but
have an
minimize
aging
it.
population and
Yeah.
there are people who, need special.
Yeah, yeah, and you could, there. I think it's 4.5 feet, maybe 5 feet is this hatched area in between the spaces. So you could add another set of handicap spaces or if you wanted, there's. This is sort of a first stab, and as being an architect, I know a fair amount, I know a little bit about a lot, but at the same time, laying out parking, this is gonna need to be graded, it's
Yeah.
gonna need to have drainage properly done, it's gonna need, I think this area here is likely considered wetland, I don't know exactly.
Well, that was my other question is, was there a cost savings or a reason that you stayed with the same parking lot profile pretty much? It was another question, like, are we saving money by not kind of really having to grade or move things around in terms of parking?
So when you say same, it's very similar to what's there now, except it's wider, there's a full 2 rows of thing with full width. Other than that's kind of what came to me.
Okay.
And instead of making this solely an exercise about designing parking lots, but no, it's a fair question, but it seemed like a relatively efficient way of using the site. But again, having an expert who design, working with, this will need to be done in coordination with a Gartland and Dorsey or a Landmark or someone along those lines.
So Irv is on the planning board, so maybe, and he has a question.
I just got a couple questions. I think if you get the building in there, then you can figure out a nice parking after the old building's down. You could leave the parking where it is now, but later on, before if that site's cleaned up, you could redo the whole thing, do the whole landscape around the whole thing and make your parking again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's exactly, you'd have to think, so phase 1 would be leaving the parking exactly how it is,
Yeah.
building the building behind it. Phase 2 would be bringing the whole building down and then having kind of a clean slate
Right.
to lay it out however you feel. So here, actually, this red, can't tell necessarily that it's red, but this red line here is the perimeter of the existing building. So the parking is, as part of that second phase, already eating into where the building currently exists.
I might have missed one other question. I had the main space for meetings. How big is that? How many square foot is that?
What you guys have allotted for on this program is the main meeting space is 1,800 square feet and it's directly adjacent to a multi-purpose meeting space. That is 680 people.
It's big enough for 100 and, I forget what
I
the.
thought it was gonna be for 200.
200, that's what I thought too.
I think with the
I was gonna say
next
150.
space next to it.
So a large gathering like a dance or a.
Town meeting.
retirement party or something.
Town meeting.
The rental for parking spaces is 100.
Right, but it's mainly so we can accommodate town meeting, but there will be a kitchen in there, so we can have events in there as well.
It will take space.
So we might want to think about the parking.
What was the Marshall?
It will take space up from the 1,800 square feet, the number of people that can be in there, if we put a kitchen.
Well, we probably need more parking.
But the parking for all the town meeting nights can be, at the church and people can walk a few feet to get to the building. Like you don't need parking for 200 people, for
I would, yeah,
80%
there is
of the-
definitely a balance, if
Yeah.
you go to TJ Maxx and stuff, the parking, maybe 2 days before Christmas,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
full.
yeah.
And otherwise, it is a bunch of asphalt.
yeah,
So there's always a balance, and you can imagine if this is 44 spots and you want 100,
this is not
it's
gonna
a building in
happen.
the middle of a sea of asphalt
Yeah.
and ramps and stuff getting up and around. If that's, again, this is your building, this is how you guys use
Town
it, so it's
meetings
up to
have
you guys.
been around 175 to 100.
But not everybody's coming in a car. I
Right.
mean, there are more than.
Yeah, there's usually 2 people in a
Well, and we've used that limited parking for town meetings for years.
Right,
So,
right.
we'll manage.
But if we expand usage to have a
Right,
dance.
for 3 hours.
That would
I need to park at the
I think no, for 50 parking space is probably something we should look at.
Think with the car.
But as you said, there's the church.
Yeah, church's a little far. I park on the street, we just go to town meeting.
There is a walkway to that, you know, it's just not bad.
It's actually a right way road back there too.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Libraries.
But that's minutia right now.
Yeah,
right.
We have another,
Oh, I'm
question about library space size.
How big is the library space within?
So I'll go through all the blue, which is considered library. So the children's room, and it's all in this packet that I'm just reading.
Yeah.
The children's room is listed at 600 square feet. And the Saxon reading is listed as 900 square feet. The book sale area is listed as 96 square feet. The office is listed as 96 square feet. The circulation desk is listed as 96 feet. And the maker area is listed as 312.
And then separate from the library, the biggest.
All of those numbers are considered individually. Whether or not they're separate depends on if we design a wall around it.
Can you just give me the figure of the children's room square foot, just because I'm taking some notes.
Yeah, no problem. Children's room is listed as 600. There's
600.
also in this spreadsheet here, and again, I didn't produce it, but this spreadsheet says that the basement has miscellaneous and book storage of 560 square feet.
You guys have this package we sent out.
Yeah.
It's all right here.
The utilities are listed as 200.
So when you started, I know you were putting those masses, those different ideas on top of the old, with the assumption of getting rid of the old building first. And then.
Yeah, that was the first.
And then we started the
Stab at
idea
it.
of moving it, so to allow for the building to continue its usage while a new building was being built.
I think so
What do we
too.
need to do in terms
What?
of site preparation or site
Building.
information, surveys? I mean, I don't exactly know you know better where the leaching field is and whether that massing would affect the leaching field, or does the leach field need to be?
Well, I think that's at the point where Carly Endorsky gets involved. because
Yeah, I
they're
think,
gonna engineer
we should get a survey, we should do our best to understand where the utilities, facilities are for the bathrooms and stuff, and then we can start to better gauge. Is anything about this design gonna cut off a lifeline to the existing building that will either need a temporary component to see it through the construction, or maybe it doesn't work and the building needs to slide 15 feet that way or 5 feet this way, or the volumes have to change a little bit. So there's a little bit of investigative homework that needs to be done to totally confirm the validity of it,
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that most of the things on that property, obviously not septic and leach field and well, but most of those things are movable. We want a community garden, we want a playground, we want the skate park. But if we had to adjust it on that space,
Yeah.
We could do that.
And we probably need to put a new septic tank in there.
We may need to.
And so the septic and leach field, for example, and again, this is a working session, right? So it may be determined after 80 years or whatever, it's reached a major upgrade component. So perhaps it is decommissioned and a new one is built before, like, as soon as possible, so to speak. The existing building is hooked up to it, and then the new building is hooked up to it after it's complete. So the existing building will utilize the new leach field and septic system for a period of time if this footprint happens to be sitting on it. And then that new system isn't lost, it is just connected to the new building once the old building is decommissioned. Yes.
I am troubled, and I think I'm the only one by this jog, because I know it's so much more, every corner you put makes construction more expensive. Have you played with the plan at all so that we don't have that?
You could make this a perfect square rectangle.
Yeah, Rob, yeah,
Yes.
much cheaper, right?
It would cost less money, yes.
Yeah.
Would it be a better building?
Well, it would give us a little
It might-
room for
might not.
different things, you know, we're losing.
Well, I wouldn't make it bigger. If I'm playing by, so to speak, these
Right.
rules, I would make it the exact same size. I would just make it a
Squish it,
rectangle.
yeah,
Yeah, so you would have to conform it to make it four corners as opposed to however many, this is 8.
well, yeah, I mean, that's one, or otherwise just go straight and.
Yeah, and there are efficiencies too, and you know, exterior walls cost money, insulation, volume, anything, all those things add some cost. They do sometimes add a lot of value though to
Well, we're
a
not
place
gonna,
that you wanna be.
well, this is not for resale, I mean,
Not value in that term, value in terms of like, I enjoy being here, I want to be here, I wanna spend the afternoon reading a book in this room. I want to be part of the music. It's a great space and I can't wait to bring my kids or my grandkids or my uncle that's visiting, from wherever, you know?
we
So,
have that now, really. So you'd be surprised how many people come in bringing their family to see.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
You guys have done a great job with what you've done over there, yeah.
Did you have a question?
Oh, well, it was back to the, like, construction while we were also using the existing buildings, Andrew, and I just, you said you had some experience with that. Is that, and I'm just trying to visualize, in my experience, we've like completely fenced off
Yes.
the construction area and we might lose some parking or we might lose something. So there's driveway for the heavy trucks or whatever, right? Okay, just
There
making sure I
will
was
be-
visualizing that.
Safety.
In between period, which is not 100% comfortable for everyone all the time.
Mud season, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, this time of year for sure, but yes, I mean, for insurance purposes and everything else, a
Yeah.
builder is not gonna want people walking around with a hole in the ground or rough framing or that sort of thing. And so there will be a cordon off area, there might be like a temporary driveway, you know, that comes around this side or that side that trucks use. Your access to the site might be smaller, you might lose half of your spaces. It's not gonna be ideal for everyone, but it is, you know.
Better than moving. the space.
Yeah, you list the pros and cons sort of, and you make a determination if it's the right move. But, you know, I've worked in metropolitan areas and stuff, and so there's times where, you know, there are buildings right next to the site, right against your property line, and you have to be able to manage how that works. We've installed meters so that if the building shakes too much next door, they shut down whatever they're doing, driving piles and that sort of thing. I don't anticipate that here, but it does.
Ways to mitigate it.
Yeah,
Any responses out there to either the gable or the shed roof?
Yeah, I love the shed.
I like the
I
shed.
think it's friendly looking.
Yeah, it's more interesting.
To me, is a bit harsh. I like it,
this shed or the other shed?
the bigger of the two. You just showed a smaller shed version, right?
This is the smaller shed, and then this is the
The longer
The
shed.
longer
I like the longer shed myself.
Question, I like the other. In between the space into the entrance in there,
Churches.
that roof is pitched at all, flat roof, what is that? For water drain?
So most people will call, most people will call it a flat roof, I suppose. As an architect, there's no such thing as a flat roof. They all have a little bit of a pitch. But I would call it, yeah, it would be like an EPDM rubber roof type of.
So when the water comes off the other roofs, or like say the one the first one with the 2 peaks.
Yeah, we'd have to manage the water through the gutter or some sort of system. This one
Not so bad.
not so bad, it all dumps off the back. All of them, we wanna look at potentially snow control measures and that sort of thing. This is quite a long run, and if you would have 100 feet of snow coming off of the building, it could be bad. So I've considered that at least in a preliminary layout for the solar panels. I've kept 3 feet off the eave, which would allow us to put 1 row of snow guard. In the longer roofs like this, is it possible you might need 2 rows of snow guard, which would lose a row of solar panels? Possibly, you know, so it's hard to do everything till it's finished and early on, but those are some of the things to consider and concern. And you're right, that, potentially with a gutter, gutters need maintenance.
Can you please go back to the other shed
Yeah,
picture? So the maximum roof height is the same in both cases?
No, I would have to double check that, but I did not consider the ridge to be a fixed.
Yeah, to me, this one looks more human scale. The other one looks like churches put side by side.
I think that was commercial.
The gable one or the other shed?
The other shed.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, especially at this early stage.
Yeah, I know that windows.
To know, once you start to flush out what the room might feel like and that high space with some high clear story windows that might let in some nice northerly light. Now granted, you could have some windows here, but I mean, you have windows, right? But like, it's difficult. In some ways, the gable one, which is curious, I know people don't seem to drawn to the gable one, which I think these ones are a little bit more dynamic and a little different maybe, but, considering where you might have a cathedral ceiling, that is like it follows the pitch of the roof, and where you might have a flat ceiling, obviously your bathroom, you do not want a 20-foot tall cathedral ceiling, right? So you're gonna have to play with that a little bit. And then that works with the efficiencies, corners and everything else. How much volume in a roof ceiling system do you want to heat and condition? So do we drop the insulation down there? Do we insulate a wall? None of these are insurmountable, the things we deal with in architecture every day. But doing it in clever ways. These roofs, you could see a truss system being pushed down pretty easily. The food pantry has a pretty big shed roof. And that was a big truss system that came in on a truck. I think they were 80 feet long or something. But if you had a cathedral, then that truss would have to look different, or you could be looking up into a truss. But there's a bunch of things to consider. It might not be bad. It depends on how the truss is designed and what it's for. Yeah.
Places to heat.
Just for the record, I'm not in favor of this design.
I'll put a little tick next to
The shed design, yeah, I mean,
Interesting, could we do?
for
a
what it's
show of
worth. I mean,
hands?
it's just,
Like the gable roof, better?
I do, I
Can we?
don't
go
see how
around
this
and do a
architecture
show?
fits in
Yeah.
anywhere with
Curious to see.
South Thomaston.
Gable again.
Go back to the gable.
You might be
Very
surprised though,
traditional.
Jan, if you go, sometimes like with a flat roof, right? I hear a lot of times, well, how does it work with the snow? We have snow in New England, you can't do a flat roof in New England, you can't. And if you drive through even the small towns, any of the downtowns, almost all roofs are flat, right? And then any new big commercial construction, if you put a pitched roof like this on top of a Walmart, it would be 40 stories tall, right? So it's a flat roof. And so there are plenty of ways to mitigate snow. You design for it and you plan for drainage and roof drains and that sort of thing.
We talked about the other day also doing like a salt box roof.
Yeah, you know what?
Give you more footprint for the, and that's what the food pantry was like.
Yes, the food pantry and outside school has a salt box, and so,
Gave you more room to panels for solar panels.
yeah, so I mean, it depends, it gives you more room than, say, the gable version, but in this version, so a salt box could look like, imagine a line.
Yeah.
Right there. So what that helps do is bring the eave down, the ridge down a little bit, and then it also creates a lower eve at the entry, which I've forgotten now the criticism, but which might provide more of a human scale at a lower level.
So we might like to see that.
So here's, I hope this is gonna work. So something.
Yeah.
Like that. So it still gives most of
Yeah,
the room to the
that
sun,
would be
right?
better to me.
Less boxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
I like
you're
your
gonna
stuff.
come back one more time. Is that right?
Yeah, the intent is to sort of try to process some of this,
And we,
come back again, and I think the difficult thing, I think, for everyone here is trying to figure out how to thread the needle in terms of showing enough that people are excited and want to be involved, if that's your opinion on the project in general. But not do it in a way that's designed like the gable roof, because it doesn't be a gable roof necessarily at this point. So I don't know if that is by showing multiple versions, or if it's a matter of taking a straw poll and settling on a version. I certainly could develop. I guess what I don't necessarily want to do is develop all of them more and more and more and more, because then it's
Right.
lots of work and time. And I don't know that it solves any issues. And, we certainly could look at a salt box as, I apologize, Jim. I got
No, you had a lot going on.
that I thought maybe people could handle in one sitting. But we could look at a salt box, which changes some things in terms of the entry scale and that sort of thing. It does also dump snow.
Two ideas, the salt box and a shed, because it seems like nobody really wants the gable, but I don't know, maybe that's not. And
Well, I think, Jim, were you saying you like the game?
Yeah, I
you
did,
like the gable, so maybe
but
3, but
Yeah, all right. If you did the salt box there, like on the front of I, you might, if you want windows in that way you have it now, you could have some windows, more light in there, right?
Like skylight.
Oh, like up here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's,
Have anything.
I mean, you could still have windows, you know what I mean? I wouldn't bring that eave so low, like that eave would still be, let's say, 10
Right.
feet instead of 18.
you're talking about skylight or something in the roof.
Well, not really, just a flat window, but not,
Yeah, he's saying,
it's just
that there are windows that you would be missing up here.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you put the salt box, but you could still put windows
You could
in.
put a skylight kind of
Yeah.
window. with-
But again, this is where like the plan development and everything kind of goes hand in hand. If that's the multi-purpose room that wants a big thing, I'm showing both of these as mirror images of each other, they could also be different things. There's so many different iterations, I mean, I got them on one, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways to skin it, and so maybe the multi-purpose room, you want really tall windows, maybe northern light would probably be great for the library because you don't have harsh direct light coming in where people are getting glare on their books, maybe even deteriorating the books. Sorry, I'm digressing.
no, I'm just thinking for, what we want, more like,
I like the gable, but, and the shed one, my concerns are just because of having solar panels. And I go out and take the snow off, so I get my sun quickly. The way the shed is, those solar panels, when you have ice, aren't gonna shed very quick. But I would like to see the salt box. I'm not fond of salt boxes, but I wanna see it because I don't wanna close the door. And you already have the other two, if we could have that one, so we could pick from the 3. Because I think, it's good to look at all options, and I'm not asking you to redo any of those 2, but just because you have mentioned the salt box.
Sorry.
But I do like both the designs.
I gave. I gave.
It's just that I know having, solar panels for 10 years, I know about the snow coming off, but we don't get as much snow anymore, but we do get ice.
Yeah.
And that is, when I see the shed, that because you call it the
That's
pitch.
also the interesting, depending on where walkways are and other things, you also might opt to put snow guards on, so it will hold the snow up there. That being
But I
said,
guess
we
I'm
would work.
confused. I wouldn't want the snow to stay there. I want those the panels to be, yeah, but I need it to go away, but I don't want, because
You can't generate as much solar
Right,
power when
because
there's snow on top of it, you can generate some, but not as much.
Not
And
very
I totally appreciate that. Dumping 100 feet of snow on people.
Yeah, you need to have it
So you
like-
have to manage
You-
both.
you gotta do that. I understand that, but the part is, even in winter with the short hours, because it's cold, we generate a lot of kilowatts.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
And so, even though people don't think that, on a cloudy day, I get a lot of kilowatts. And so I always make sure, like those ice storms, I clear it. I take my little squeegee and go out there and boom, it's gone.
I know, good job on this, right?
Yeah.
What is the effect of the metal roof on, because I have a metal roof and the snow is off very fast, but I don't know with.
Well, if
solar.
you cover it with solar panels, then it's more the effect of the tempered glass of the solar panel.
Yeah.
Or.
It doesn't melt right away.
But the metal roof lasts longer, so you don't have to.
Snow guard,
rip
because I'm not familiar with that.
A snow guard, outside school has it, and they're around, it's like a 1 or 1.5 inch tall bar. They can also be rods, that's clipped on to the standing seams and runs across the face of, across the length of the, perpendicular to the pitch.
Okay.
And what that does is it creates a guard that when the snow goes to slide off, it hits and it holds it on the roof. I mean, it still melts and everything, and it can, I guess, slough over, but we work with a company to help them design it for the roof. And you usually, main areas that you wanna make sure you do it, if you have a walkway next to something like that, you wanna do that. If you have parking next to it, you don't wanna destroy the car. If you have a front door, those types of things. Yeah, so that's,
I have them on my house and they work.
yeah, good.
We had them.
Otherwise,
So we will get from you, thumb drives for images so that we can print some, we can make, everybody can have a thumb drive to take to a presentation if they want to go that way, or we can have print images, or what do you think?
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is that's exactly right. I'll give you images however you want them on a thumb drive, via Dropbox, whatever, because they'll be big enough that you can print them and they'll look decent. If you want to fill a wall with one, then let me know, because that's a different thing.
It'll be in people's everyone.
Yeah, and what I was sort of anticipating is maybe focusing on 1 or 2, maybe 2, and upgrading these images. So like the shadow of a car, or the shadow of a couple people walking, so that the scale is a little bit more relevant. Just tidying it up a little bit, it gives it a little bit more punch without putting shingles on it or board and batten, and is it gray, is it blue, or is it painted red, where all, so it's sort of a balance in between there. I could do that for all of them, and then you guys could, but I certainly would start to be probably
No.
exceeding the budget a little
Yeah.
bit. Not by a ton, but by some.
I just wanted to see what the softbox looked. I don't think anything has to be done with these two to see what the softbox.
And honestly, the more I'm thinking about it, I probably, because the way I've done it, they're pretty, with the exception, all the parking areas are the same, which we talked about. But dressing them up, most of the layouts are the same. So like, we call entourage, people with the cars and a couple things like that, and dressing up maybe some of the planting or something like that. I could do more or less one version that could copy through all of them and give you all of them, and then you guys can have your own wrestling match about which ones to sit out on.
Does that sound good to you?
Yes, that sounds very good.
What are you envisioning for the exterior?
I was asked that in our last meeting.
What are you envisioning?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Not the stucco that it looks like right now.
Certainly not. Yes, there will be some more normal things that provide longer durability and other things, like a little bit of an eave overhang. On the southerly facing side, often I'd like to do an eave extension to maybe provide some shading from the summer sun.
And I guess.
Common things like outside school, what we did there, because it's a local example, it's something I worked on. We did the cedar shingles right near the entrance. It's a sort of a warm, touchy feely, something you see all around here, and it's right at the entry level. But it's also maybe a little bit more of a premium. It's hard to say. The installations are a little longer. And the rest of the siding on the front side is what looks sort of like a board and batten, but it's metal.
Is
It's
it?
painted aluminum.
Yeah.
It will last for
That's how I found
70
my
years,
house.
right? So there are certain ways to sort of budget. I think in the write-up that it talks about using locally sourced materials and stuff, and certainly we could do like a board and batten or a reverse board and batten or some sort of wood exterior wood shingles, we use Longfellow shingles, which is made right here in Maine. We got them cut extra thick for the school here, and they got pre-dipped in a water-based natural weather protected thing. They age slightly differently than a regular shingle, but
I would just like.
it could be
to
cool
look
as
at-
shingles, I think, but it maybe.
Well, I like it to
not as
look a
much.
little more New Englandy, that,
Yeah.
This is meant to, you know, if you ever
no,
go
I
to a.
understand,
Yeah.
but we're trying to present it, to people.
Well, that's, yeah,
Clapboard, maybe, yeah.
it certainly is a balance, because when it's like this, a lot of people might not understand out of the gates. Oh, this is sort of like a basswood model, right? And it's
Yeah.
just meant to give you the impression of something, or something made out of foam core that doesn't have all the shingles drawn on it.
So that
Once
would
we
be-
start adding detail, the next question is, well, aren't there gonna be any windows?
Yeah, that's the
Where's
key.
the-
This is south, so
Right.
you would imagine that you have actually a more glass than shingles on the southern side.
Well, it depends, it depends, it's sometimes, this is, so south is, the most southern exposure is where the panels are. So this side is actually west, more westerly than
More
the
west.
So
southern.
it gets the afternoon light.
And so it gets the afternoon light. And there will definitely be windows on that side. But I would not make that a
Yeah.
westerly wall full of windows.
No,
because it's
well,
hard to control the
See, I
slope.
can't see the
For the sake
orientation on this one.
of propaganda, if that's the right or wrong word,
Sure.
putting a few, trees on the side there, so it's broken up a little bit, so.
Yeah,
Artistically, it's better.
I think that that will be part of this next round of
Yeah.
building a little bit of ambiance, but it's, again, it's this balance of,
No, I understand, cost and
well, no, it's
To
not
me,
making it look so
doesn't
real
make
that all of a
sense that the
sudden.
narrowest
Photograph,
It-
except.
it's the area is
So there'll probably be like shadows. of
Sheds, and then he has
people, Or,
Yeah, that was.
or like kind of
What
a
do you-
shadow of a car, you know, where it gives
Just
the
the way they,
impression.
angle.
as she's-
And Xander, do I hear you saying that we don't really want to get too real about the actual building, because we don't need to invite that discussion just yet, right?
Yeah, and it's also.
We don't want to argue over Gordon Batten and collaborative.
No.
Right,
At these
It
meetings.
depends on where you're going with it, but like the legitimacy of it, so to speak, without a more firmed up plan and whatnot, you know, then someone looks at the packet and sees the plan and says, well, I don't understand why there's such a big window in the children's reading room. There doesn't need to be, oh, well, does it look good in the rendering?
So we don't want to have those arguments.
This was an early on rendition of the house.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, so you put.
It looks nothing like that.
I mean, it is, it does, but it does, yeah, it's the salt box, it's the volumes, the entrance there.
Yeah,
it's the
I like
canopy,
the
it
small
does.
look that you have.
Can you show me?
I'll hold it up to the camera.
I have a question, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Have you considered SIPS panels for this, or would that be twice the price?
What did you say?
It's not,
Structured
It's sort of-
insulated panels, we built a house with that.
yeah, so basically what that is foam insulation, usually EPS, it looks like white styrofoam stuff. And then it laminated on top of that is plywood. And SIP stands for structurally insulated panel, so it acts sort of structurally as well. I've not used a lot of SIPs. I wouldn't not consider it. But yeah, I guess it would be on the table. It could be on the table. I've not used them. I found that insulating in some other ways often is better at getting good air sealing. What we do a lot now, you know, people used to talk about buildings breathing and it being good that a building can breathe. And now the language that we use as designers really is about buildings being able to dry. And so we actually don't want them to breathe on their own. We want to control the breathing through mechanical ventilation,
Right.
but we want to build with materials that allow them to dry well. SIPs have a certain level of drying capability, but there are other insulations like dense packed cellulose and mineral wool and some other things that provide for more drying potential.
But the nice thing is that they go up and it's a puzzle, but once you've done your piece there, then it's sent to the SIPS factory and then they cut it out exactly and then we need a crane, and so the structure goes up. It's Well, it is well insulated, because I built a house that way, and we lived
You
in
can
it
make
for
them
11 years, yeah.
All sorts of things.
But the bottom line, is it can be very pricey compared to the other thing. I was just curious if they'd come down and.
But that drying piece is a consideration, because we were talking to a company about building with SIPs, and they also wanted us to put in some kind of insulation, insulate, it was, I don't know what it was, it wasn't an insulation, but it was some kind of space, and it was for the moisture.
Yeah, see,
So that's probably,
yeah, we
This
didn't
is
have
the
that issue.
library, moisture is an enemy.
Yeah.
anyway, too much.
That's,
So I guess that the outcome is I'm gonna dress up these versions, I'm gonna add a salt log version, and I can present them with a thumb drive
Okay,
next time.
okay. Our next meeting will be the first week of April. Is that, I mean, it's a little bit tight for you maybe, but it's April. April 4th.
Second week.
I will not be here, but that's fine.
But you're not gonna be there.
I'm not gonna be here.
You're not gonna be here either.
There is a chance if I were to do that meeting, I would be doing it virtually.
Okay, let me look at a later, like a week later, please. I won't be there.
I'll be back.
Are you ever coming back? No. Because it's hard to get this room, so I'll ask for another.
I don't need to be here.
I mean, virtually, I think I can present well virtually as well, so if I can work around your guys' schedule.
Yeah, as long as I get it in my calendar now.
All right, yes.
I don't know what elevators cost, and I'm sure they cost a lot. But I would hate to have that be the thing that we regret not having. I just want to say that.
We would.
I mean, the outside school, they're regretting not putting in air conditioning. You know, they thought having that extra money spent, and now they're calling school off because it's too hot in the school. And of course, this is a different level, but I would just consider that.
It's certainly less expensive to put it in.
The elevator.
I have dumbwaiter and I have a 3-story house, so I have a dumbwaiter. Which I know you can't have that.
Well, sir, that would move books up and down.
That will it probably isn't safe to put a person, just.
I would not put a person.
They also have, there's new elevators that take one person, and you can retro, and they're like $40,000, they're not super expensive.
I'm looking at.
But we need to do that later.
All right,
Right.
I would like to bring this up.
Too close.
Yeah, I
Time
hear
is
you.
ticking.
It's always, wanting to make the right decisions now that you don't regret in the
No.
future. But always balancing the practicality of the cost. And, while I can help contribute to those conversations by answering questions and doing my best, like I said, at the end of the day, it's your community and through building and some of the decisions.
Okay, we have another chunk of stuff to work on.
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Let's move right. Are you guys all okay?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jane. We went first with. Okay, the case statement. Have you all got the version that I sent to you?
Yes.
I have extra copies.
I'm thinking it, just because mine is different.
Yeah.
And this is the latest.
This is the latest that Jan,
Okay.
We did that last time. Thank you.
Okay.
Not at all.
But I think,
version 7 on the top.
Version 7.
Yeah.
Could you put dates on these?
Okay.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. This was,
I do have all of them, but I really kind of
you
want
can
to.
get rid of a bunch.
Yeah.
Version 7 is the most up to date, and then
I had
Until
version.
tonight.
Yeah.
until tonight. And here are, and I don't know that we should give this out yet, or should we? These are the original things.
Just within the committee. I mean,
Yeah.
it's certainly not public.
Did Kate get one? She went off to the restroom on the version 7.
Oh, another version 7.
I don't know if she has it, so I just want to get it for her. Thank you.
I know that Kate has an addition she wants to make. This is version 7. You may have seen it. It's got some bolded and
It does, yeah, I'll talk to them.
Oh, is it different than version 6 in addition?
Well, I
looked at
it's-
this.
Because it has bold remarks.
Those bold remarks are from John Spear,
They've been in there since John.
who was very interested in and felt it was really important to make sure that we had covered the work of the Futures Committee. So
That's up to us to decide.
Version 7 does not have them bolded.
I don't see any more.
No, that's why it's gonna get confusing real quick, looking at multiple versions.
Okay, so which one are we gonna do?
Oh,
Version 7B.
Version 7 is what's up here on the panel, on the TV.
we're gonna go section by section. We're comparing. Okay.
This is the.
Well, Since I've done version 7,
Okay, thanks.
we've had,
Let's start with that.
Sherry sent us
Oh, is that what that?
a version, and then John,
My feet are freezing.
I think came back
It's all, well,
to Sandy, and
you can turn up the.
thank you, Xander.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Are you home?
Yeah, my feet are like,
It's very chilly.
Yeah. Should we just start with those? I'm worried about the
65.
Oh, that's a big difference.
So could we go through, I have one other version that has, some edits from somebody on the board of directors. I think we should start with these two. What do you think? Yours?
it's okay, it doesn't bother me.
Well, I gotta space for
I know,
all this stuff.
That's where John came back to you again.
It came back to me after, somewhere along the line.
Okay, let me make sure it's not in here already. It's this paragraph right here, the library and community center.
Perhaps the greatest testament.
Yes.
Okay, which one are we looking at?
The bolded one.
I'm not decided yet.
Okay, I'll wait.
But I think for a way of talking about it, let's take each section. What do we think about the mission?
By
Is that-
paragraph, yeah.
That paragraph.
I like it very much. I didn't have any change.
I liked it too.
One of the comments that Sherry made was on our quotes at the top. Should we identify the quote to tie it to somebody like 65-year-old, retiree, female retiree, or not put names on it, but
Well, I'll tell you, I think like connecting people to Forge is Stronger is more like a tagline, a logo statement that is anybody's. And maybe that'll evolve into our tagline, but maybe not, but that's how I interpret it. I know and the next one, I don't think we need to do that, is my personal
Just
opinion.
one tagline at the top.
No, I don't think we need to put
distribute them
65.
to somebody.
No,
Because they're general.
They're general.
Lots of people are thinking the same thing.
yeah, and I don't think.
I didn't
if
think
we-
so either, but I
I
wanted
didn't
to
wanna-
bring it up.
And I think it qualifies it to someone that age, or does it, what about the person that's young? I think it's causing confusion.
I agree. Okay, we all agree on that.
That's great.
Okay,
Just for
back to mission.
fun, I went on ChatGPT today to get a tagline, and I plugged in many of our taglines and quotes and stuff and said, I need a tagline for publicity. They generated a lot of taglines, but they weren't as good as ours, so.
I had just a couple of little things that I thought maybe you might consider, and that is okay.
Under mission?
yeah.
Okay,
Under let me just read the whole thing. The South Thomaston Library Community Center Facility Committee, mouthful, supported by the Library and Community Center Auxiliary 501c3, aspires to raise funds for a new facility that will build connections.
so take out Ann Green.
Well, I want to take out create and say, and will build connections and community. And I also I was thinking about the idea of taking out be inviting and welcoming to all, because it would read that will build connections and community while being mindful of the environment and efficient and effective use of tax dollars. That's a pretty hefty sentence right in there, but bottom line is to be more concise. I don't think we need inviting and welcoming to all. I think that we're talking about connections and community, which is all of that.
All of what's listed below is
Yeah,
laughing and
and-
socializing and.
It might not be somebody else's purpose. I just concise, but.
So you would say, after the 501c3 aspires to raise funds for a new facility.
Well, maybe do new comma green facility, so that you take and out of there, and you are still saying it's a green facility.
A new green facility.
I think that's important.
Green facility that builds connections.
They're so
that-
different.
Did you
Yeah,
say
that
that?
will build connections, not create, but build connections and community. And I wouldn't include myself, I wouldn't include be inviting and welcoming to all, because that's what connections and community
Right.
already offers, while being mindful of the environment and efficient and effective use of tax dollars.
Are you looking at a different version?
I mean, 7 and 7B are totally different.
Right,
Oh,
Wait
with
a minute,
seven,
is this the version?
should be 7.
Number 7, yeah, this is.
Because you're pulling out the hub and I like the hub.
I like the hub too.
Okay,
I don't
go
like-
back to 7. Make
Go
sure you're
back
not-
to 7.
I'm sorry too, I
No,
was
that's
on the
okay.
other one, so.
Aspires to raise funds for a new and green facility that will become the hub of the community.
You
like
took,
that.
you took out and.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
words new comma green facility.
But I
I'll put
agree,
Van back in there, but I'll change it if you want.
I agree, you can take out inviting and welcoming to all, because I do agree that
That's
is,
not in there. That's why you're
it
in,
is on my.
you're in the wrong version.
No,
No,
but
they
it's
both have-
in
they both
7,
have it.
it's in both that I have.
They both have.
The hub of the community, inviting and welcoming all.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah,
I would
I-
invite
It's
you
like
welcome
from
to go.
your-
It seems
Printed this one.
redundant, and it does.
You don't think you want that in there though?
No, because
Because
I.
we added that in another version, just.
I think it's warmer. I mean, to me, you know,
But Hub tells that too, and that.
no,
and then-
hub is hip, no.
Hub is
It's like a center.
a center, it's
But-
the center of the,
Right, I get that, but it also, we're talking connections and community too.
Well, but
I'm not-
inviting and it's.
but we don't have connecting in unless
Yeah, a
you.
hub is just a description of a static thing. Inviting and welcoming, you see an idea of movement and actually,
It's the wheel.
yeah.
They have a wheel and
It's-
people are
it's the
coming in.
essence Of that, okay, well,
Well, no, it's a good discussion.
No,
Yeah,
I just,
So, okay, let me start again. After 501c3 aspires to raise funds for a new and green facility or new comma green facility that will become the hub of the community while being mindful of.
I don't think it read that nicely at all.
Well, and connect will be the hub of the community.
connect is, and then you want connecting then?
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out now grammatically where that would be, that doesn't work. Inviting, okay, and welcoming all while being, I don't know, now I'm, no, this was on the other version, so I can't,
This,
Right, you were looking
this
at-
reads very well.
I do.
I like it.
Now, one other correction that Sherry made, and you can hear it in the second section, the second sentence. She said, our new facility will build on the recognition that we need to give our community a state-of-the-art facility that can serve to draw people together, provide a safe and comfortable place to socialize, laugh, learn, play, and gather for civic functions. Is that
Woo, I love it.
She added a new section there.
a new phrase? What do you think?
Can you repeat it?
I sure can. Our new facility will build on the recognition that we need to give our community a state-of-the-art facility that can serve to draw people together, provide a safe and comfortable place to socialize, laugh, learn, play, and to gather for civic functions. Too much?
What is the verb after the facility and to concert?
Will build on the recognition that we need to give our community a state-of-the-art facility that can serve to draw. To serve. That can serve, to draw people. It's right.
So you don't, she
Yeah.
doesn't want magnet.
Yeah.
I like the idea of magnet, but I like the idea of state of the art.
Yes,
I'm looking at what she's saying and there are certain words that are strong
yeah.
that need to stay here. And a magnet is, you're bringing the people to a building and
And I think, yeah,
Doing a facility that will build.
it's a gift to the people of the community that deserve the state of the art.
Serve as a magnet to draw people together, providing a safe and comfortable place.
Build on the recognition.
New facility will serve.
It's a magnet to drop. I guess it's just simpler to keep it as it is.
It is definitely simpler.
I do like state of the art, but I don't, but she got rid of magnet and I like magnet.
You know, you could put our new state-of-the-art facility.
You could, our new state of the art facility.
Will serve as a magnet.
Yeah.
How about that?
That would be good.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't need all the other words that she used, but I
Yeah,
do
it's
like.
Well,
that's
I-
heavy, yeah.
So I've been hearing, and I meant to read more about this theory of third place, and I think that's what she's trying to address, is that people apparently, since the pandemic, have lost this, their home and their work, and humans have a need for a third place, a place to go, to socialize, to,
That's what I put.
be with each other. And that's what she was saying too, or you say
I-
it's later?
Yes, I put it in for the need, social needs after COVID is something, and that's what we're not talking about that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I felt that's what she was trying to say.
And
in
that might be.
We deserve, or whatever her language was around, kind of.
What is, yeah, the latter part, the last half of that. long
What she
sentence.
did.
Like, this is what I changed it to, and based on those comments, our new state-of-the-art facility will serve as a magnet to draw people together, providing a safe, comfortable place to socialize, laugh, learn, play, and gather for civic functions.
I think.
That's
I think that's
I
good.
think it has everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. Okay, mission done.
Okay.
Mission
Oh, boy,
accomplished.
it's gonna be a long meeting, okay.
Yeah, I know this is making sausage, I'm afraid.
I'm just thinking of a senator, a congressperson, right? You would stay
Okay.
all night.
Now we're down to the need,
I'll make one correction right away.
okay?
The survey was done in 2022. We became a committee in November of 21.
So they can, so 2022.
And we did the survey in 2022.
Okay, thanks. Fixed.
And was it the facility committee that did the survey?
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't the futures committee. that did the
No,
survey.
well, the
Okay.
Futures Committee did do a little survey.
Okay, all right, I just,
That's
I wasn't
different.
here that, I mean, I was here, but I was on the panel, but I wasn't on the committee, so.
It was a hard survey.
This is my year anniversary right about now, being on.
Okay, so the first paragraph of the needs, how do we feel about that?
I'll read it. The town of South Thompson needs a modern community center / library for the future, serving as the centerpiece of the town. In a survey conducted by the Facilities Committee in 2022, the townspeople registered their desire for a community space large enough to hold the annual town meeting as the most critical requirement of the survey.
No comma after.
Yeah, exactly.
No comment after meeting, right?
No comma, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought. When I read it, the survey made clear that a large, modern, multipurpose space with a kitchen capable of holding 100+ residents is missing here in town.
No comma after kitchen.
And also eliminate the word that after clear. The survey made clear a large modern, that is overused.
Oh, no, then you do need a comma now. So a large, modern, multi-purpose space with a kitchen, comma, capable of holding 100 residents. So yes, now you do need a kitchen.
Yes.
I need a comment
Just so you're aware.
application to take out that.
Took that.
Okay,
Sherry?
but after residents, people
The
holding
survey.
100.
You never saw it.
I was living in town, but I didn't see it.
Okay.
What about after residents? Do we need a comment there? Capable, no, I think we do. That's a phrase.
I think-
Capable of holding, no, oh, that's good, group.
Is missing here. Sherry's comment is that instead of the word missing, maybe we would need the word needed here in town.
I like that it's missing.
You like missing?
Actually,
We don't have it now.
Well, true. No, we have
Actually,
multi-purpose
needed-
space though.
needed is
A modern, multi-purpose space.
Here that a large, modern, multi-purpose space with a kitchen, capable of holding is needed here. I mean, I guess it.
it's
I'm not gonna-
missing
I'm not gonna
and
fight over
it's
it.
missing and needed.
Yeah, but the. Space.
This is about the need, right?
Not
This
here.
is-
Yeah, we're under the need and he's using
I
that.
think that's when I first wrote this, that's why I put missing instead of.
Do because
need.
capable of holding is
Title of the
is
need.
a
Yeah.
descriptor of the kitchen, right? You need commas.
Okay, moving to paragraph 2 then.
Okay,
Good.
I'll read
Did
it.
we decide to get rid of missing and change it?
No,
No,
no.
missing.
I was
We
gonna
like
vote it down.
missing.
Because the paragraph is titled The
the
Need.
needs.
Okay, move on.
A new library and community center building would create a civic center for the village of South Thomaston. Surrounded by the town landing, the Methodist Church, the Westgig General Store, and the Wessowiskig Historical Society, and the Historical Society, period. This is South Thomaston's opportunity to build for today and tomorrow, serving the community for many years to come.
Love it.
You don't wanna say to the future.
Why not?
That's the comment I had.
Where
Instead of serving the community for many years, instead of many years to come for the future.
I would put future at above. This is South Thomaston's opportunity to build for today and the future.
Here is Sherry's comment. This is South Thomaston's opportunity to build for today and to meet the needs of tomorrow, serving the community for many years to come.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
So we like that.
We got the needs back in.
Okay, to build for today and meet
I'm gonna put my jacket.
The needs
and meet the needs.
of tomorrow.
of tomorrow.
Serving the
Meet the needs, okay.
Something
Of tomorrow.
Yeah, right. That thing, the general electric.
She also suggests that on our list of what's in the town for the village of South Thomaston, this is in the first sentence of that paragraph, near the fire station and nestled next to the town landing, the Methodist church, that, you know, so she added the fire station in there.
Oh,
Well, it's the town offices and fire
Yeah.
station. It's the civic, that's
I
a
think that's a
good
good
point.
idea, yeah.
But it should also be the town office,
Yeah, town office and.
Surrounded by,
Fire department, the fire.
fire department, and town office.
Yeah.
And when it's also the ambulance, so it's.
you're not gonna list everything.
So- Safety,
Yeah. So, yeah.
but if you would leave somebody out,
So where do you want to put it? First, before town landing, or where would you put?
could you say like,
Town office.
municipal
You could say
building that houses?
municipal building would be fine.
Municipal building.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
cover all
that would
three.
cover all three.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah,
Okay, you're.
Surrounded by the
I don't
town
know where that
landing,
came from,
the
the Yankees.
municipal, the town municipal build, I don't know where you put it, but I think it should be one of the first things.
I would be surrounded by the municipal building, town landing.
Yeah, municipal building, yeah, comma,
Okay, great, okay.
town landing. General store, okay.
Who's that?
Anything else in that paragraph?
I don't know.
Good. Anything else?
Okay, moving on to our vision.
So, just a picky thing, but
Yeah.
I wonder if our agreement, so. The verbs, that includes and located, that's two different,
Where are you now?
the first sentence.
Our vision.
Our vision is the
All right.
creation of a well-appointed community library center. That includes is one,
That again
Or-
probably doesn't need to be in there, right?
Including, just say
Including,
including.
yes.
well, including and then located, is that not right? Should those agree somehow?
Okay, our vision is a creation of a modern, energy efficient, well-appointed, library committee.
Center.
You just say with a large meeting room located, so that you're not,
Yeah,
you don't
could
two
be.
different, two different verbs.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, with a large
Which would be.
meeting room and kitchen located on the site of the former Gilbert
Yeah.
Brothers School
That's good.
in West King Village in the south.
Yeah.
in the town of South.
Need to go social.
I mean, we could nitpick until the day is long.
Yeah,
As long as it
we
comes
can.
across to everyone and they understand, yeah.
A facility that will, first bullet, meet the community's social, educational, and civic needs for all generations now and into the future.
Oh, good.
Do we need this again?
Yeah, no.
See, we will get
Now
on
into
it.
the future.
Without future, that's
Well,
good.
we keep saying the future, so we might want to take it out once in a while.
And all generations is, that's repetitive, right? That's redundant.
So
Take out now and into the future.
yeah, we definitely.
Oh, you take it out
Take out what now?
now and into the future.
So just end it after all generations?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we keep using future.
Well, it's also redundant, like you're saying the same thing in two different ways.
You're in trouble when you do that, Will.
Civic needs for all generations.
About
Okay,
high school English for all.
next bullet. House many activities, exercise classes and other recreational activities, music jams and performances, potluck suppers, movies, civic meetings, and educational presentations, and yet to be dreamed of activities for all residents of the town.
I don't think you need that and yet.
You don't need yet to be cleaned up.
So ended after
You could just,
presentation.
or you could say educational presentations and much more, or something.
much
You
more,
don't
yeah,
have to
more.
say
And much more.
Yeah,
I don't like much more.
And more,
Okay.
you know,
and more, or,
and just and more maybe,
And more.
yeah.
because they have to be
I
drinks.
guess
it's
I
not
think I wrote
consent.
that.
Well, don't you
And I was thinking that we don't know,
We don't know, so
don't know what people are gonna wanna do in the new facility, so that was where the yet to be.
Well, you could say,
and
Well,
inviting, you know, and that's the key, it's inviting creativity and
or you, well, so you could say, and educational presentations and anything else we can dream up. It just, it's a little awkward the way that it's
Yeah.
written, I think.
or could we put in something, because this is where I wrote in about social needs after COVID? Because a lot of people mention, you know, why they like going for coffee on Saturday mornings is because they were isolated for many years.
How about reverse it a little bit and say activities yet to be dreamed?
Activities
No, that
yet to
doesn't
be.
Somebody on Zoom?
Yeah,
Oh, two.
Activities
I
yet
don't know.
to be.
I need to know for minutes because I didn't know about that.
I have to look at the Zoom file.
And other casual or other,
Yet to be imagined, activities yet to be imagined.
and activities yet to be imagined. How do you like
You like
that?
that?
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
activities yet to be imagined, that's nice.
Is there anyone else on that?
No,
Yet to be imagined.
there we go. That's it. And this next sentence, do we need it, or we just set it up top in the needs?
Oh, we don't need that, do we?
Be a civic center in the town.
It's repetitive.
Yeah. but that was-
Yeah, it is. We don't need
Put
it.
that in.
That was a good sentence, let's repeat it again, again.
Well, that's what happens when I get into so many versions here.
Right.
You know what, going back to, house many activities, I was looking at that and I was thinking, okay, exercise classes, and then it says, and other recreational activities. Exercise classes, comma, and get rid of and other, and even recreational
yeah.
activities.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Or exercise classes and yoga class, I don't know.
No, you don't.
Just IT, you don't
They
need it.
change from time to time, right?
Exercise classes, recreational activities, music jams, performances, potluck suppers, movies, civic meetings, educational presentations, and activities yet to be imagined. So you have to take out the and before educational presentations.
Yes.
yeah.
And the other thing that we miss is the emergency center. We don't talk about an
Oh, I
emergency.
haven't talked about this. at
It's
all.
not in any of
That's
them.
that third bullet,
So-
shelter.
What would that?
Hmm.
Emergency
so
shelter.
replace the third with shelter.
And I still would like to get something in if it's, I don't care if it's called the theory of the third place, but the need for interaction because of what we experienced in COVID. But maybe I'm off, but
So
Those
let's
were
do
my-
the emergency center first, so a facility that will be an emergency.
Serve as.
serve as an emergency shelter.
Will serve as an emergency
For
shelter.
the community, or the entire community or something.
But it's our main, we have two.
Service community emergency shelter
We have,
and
The church is percent.
Housing,
Is that it?
do we need
I
to
don't
put
know.
something like that in there? No.
You're not, you're, where are you?
So we have.
Just down 3 miles.
Everybody, it will serve as an emergency shelter?
Yes.
Okay.
Emergency center.
I put community emergency shelter
The shelter is what they use,
center.
they don't use
Community-
center, they use shelter.
I think shelter's the
Because
legal word, right?
Oh.
Yeah, because shelter is you're sheltering in place in an emergency.
All right, that one's done.
Okay. And then there's just that sentence that says, such a facility will stand as a source of pride for all residents of the town of Southdown.
Yes or no?
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's it.
no, but we still didn't talk about the social.
The social needs of
social-
COVID or the third part, theory of the third place.
But you've got,
If you,
you've got,
but
the
they
first
might
bullet
not
says,
like it.
meet the community's social, educational, and civic needs for all
Oh,
generations.
there you go.
Yeah, I think that's.
So talk about what that third, I want to hear the language.
Well, I haven't had time to research it, so I meant to, but it's like, the idea is human beings need home, work, and they need a third place. And
Socialization.
it's a place to go to connect with the community and because of COVID, we couldn't go to the coffee shops, we couldn't go to the library or whatever, and so a lot of those places closed. So now what they're finding is that is a strong need, that's a human need, that's all. It was just an interesting thought.
And maybe it needs to be a talking point if we can't get it into the case statement
that
and
might
having
be.
as we, hearing that people were isolated during COVID. And it is it's an important part with an older generation
Yeah.
because it brings depression.
Well, and even isolated in a rural community, I mean, you're in a rural community where we have lots of isolating factors, not just.
In the vision part, let's say after the bullets, we start a new sentence, right before such a facility will stand as a source of pride. We believe that every community needs, I don't know what we want to call it, a place for.
Place to gather.
That was the Agora thing. I was
You
trying
get-
to
I know,
put in,
yep.
this
That's
is
not
the
pulled out
concept
very-
of the
This is your
Agora.
workplace, yep,
I don't know if the third place is well known enough.
No, I wouldn't use that.
That's why I just went,
Right. But I
after
think as a
COVID.
vision, we believe that it's important that the town provide access to.
And we can say after experience the COVID pandemic, the
Right.
community needs a place that's safe and can socialize.
Yeah.
You guys can wordsmith it, but.
And then such a facility will be a source of pride. So.
Education.
Serve as a community and emergency shelter.
It's okay, so it's going to play the role of the Old Town Square. You know, like.
Yeah, you're right?
Yep.
Could we add it in under serve as a community emergency shelter as well as provide?
Yeah, I put, every community needs a safe and welcoming location to gather. I was supposed to be and socialize.
Yes. Delish.
You want to say more than
It's
that?
kind of a mental health thing.
It is, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm
And so
trying
it's,
to get that
it's
sense of it.
different than an emergency shelter.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. And it's like.
And that we acknowledge and we believe in it.
There's a need.
So can we do this? Every community needs a safe and welcoming location to gather and socialize, comma. This facility will stand as a source of pride for all residents of the town of South Thomas.
I like that.
So it's one sentence instead of two.
Yeah. I like that.
This, so you take out such a, yeah, such,
This facility.
Okay,
But now we need to go back to the other community piece, right? Because we want to be talking about the issues of people, not the issues, but the community sense. So that people don't feel isolated.
I like that,
I just missed it. Sorry.
Laura just said was that we could talk about it more, right?
Oh,
We could
That's
talk
a
about
talking point.
isolation of a rural area.
Gotcha.
and it's not.
Okay.
yeah, that first bullet, I think, is a good entry because it meets the community's social,
Right.
educational, and civic needs for Oakland, right?
Yeah.
Because Marcia's right, like, we already have that space in, right, after a fashion, right? So now what we're saying is, we just want more usage, not, beautiful.
It's almost like this, we
engaging.
recognize that isolation can be a difficulty in all communities.
Right.
And we see the value of.
And it was the
making
point
this
that
work.
somebody made here in my, I called it version 7A, that the response to the current use of Guilford Butler is testimony that we need the space, that we need that community.
That was John's bullet from 7A.
Now we just want to expand on the fact that there's that huge need and people are using it to make it more usable.
Yeah, so let's go back to that, to the need part, this bolder thing from John. Do we like that paragraph?
I do.
Which one did he embolden?
Yeah, perhaps the greatest testament to the need for a new library community center has been demonstrated by the community response to the temporary relocation of the library. In spite of the fact that the facility has serious inadequacies, the response, particularly to the community center activities, has been phenomenal.
I think that is brilliant.
Yeah,
strong
Do we
words,
do we
yeah.
like that?
Uh-huh.
Yes. And also thank those that are participating in that.
Exactly, it honors what's happening right now, that there's something really
Well,
good
that's,
happening.
that was his point.
Yeah, I like that.
That we acknowledge.
Bashes the building a little bit, but.
Okay. All right, that's going in.
You,
All right, hang on.
So is the next one gonna be 7C?
No.
This is gonna be like 8 or 9.
yeah, I'm gonna-
No, you're gonna put today's date after workshop,
March 14th.
draft number 8.
Yeah. And this is it, guys. Okay.
and then you're gonna throw all the other ones away, put them in the archival.
As soon as Jan gets that in there, we'll go on to history of the project.
Go ahead and start.
Okay, history of the project, let's look at that.
I just have a couple of grammar.
Okay, let's do the first paragraph.
Yep, I have grammar on, okay. So the town library was a historic one-room schoolhouse, right? The building lacked, so we're in past tense, both space and modern efficiencies necessary to meet the evolving community. Those small, the library serves, you don't need has served because you're still in past tense.
That's right.
The community well due to visionary and devoted directors who marshaled a passionate army of community volunteers who
I meant, say that, no small
Those
libraries.
directors.
But we're talking about the old one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the present Guilford Butler Center.
Right, but it all needs to be in past tense, so has to
Right.
go, because that makes it.
So those small, the library served,
Yeah,
served the community well,
due to visionary and devoted directors,
who marshaled.
a passionate army of community volunteers to promote education and creativity, to promote
Okay.
education and creativity.
Almost,
Okay, we're not there yet, guys. Okay,
Sorry,
that's okay. My
it's okay.
typing speed is not.
It's okay.
Two finger guys, you can see.
Let me just, this is the
Facility.
section that Carrie didn't add much to it. She added some things that were inaccurate, so I'm not gonna use them, okay? The former Guilford Butler School was vacated because of school consolidation with Owl's Head, Maine.
And I'm gonna stop you there because that's not totally true.
Yeah,
And that's what I didn't like.
okay, so how should it read?
Because, well, and that's the problem because we went to RSU 13 in 2009.
Yeah.
And then because of what evolved, it originally was the 6 towns, then went to 5 when St. George pulled out.
Right,
Then they did a consolidation, what schools needed to go away and what ones didn't. And it was, so truly, the true thing is, once RSU 13 was created in 2009, there was a consolidation of buildings that were no longer needed. And that's what happened to Guilford Butler and like the Libby School in Thomaston.
okay.
They were closed because they were of no use and too expensive to
Okay,
use.
So did the kids go
that first
somewhere?
phrase that you used was due to,
Due to the creation of RSU 13 in 2009.
wait a minute. Creation of RSU 13 in 2009.
There was a consolidation of all buildings to see if they met the needs of the next generation. I don't, these guys can create the better words than I can.
Due to the creation. Are you on history yet?
Nope, but I almost think I am now.
Due to the creation of due to the creation of RSU 13 in 2009, school consolidation.
There was they did a survey and went through all the buildings.
Very good.
And we needed to just cut that close. And so schools were slated to be closed. But then when they decided that, that's when they had to decide where to build a new school.
So in that first paragraph, we're putting everything in the past tense. Though small, the library served the community well due to visionary and devoted directors. Directors needs to be capitalized now.
That's the only thing.
Who marshaled.
You know, the former was slated for closure after consolidation.
Yeah, there were several schools.
Yeah, so
Take Al's head out, yeah.
Yes, because it isn't, because that just makes it sound like we were only with Alsted.
End of that.
Directors, who marshal?
Yeah, okay. Due to the creation of RSU 13 in 2009, several schools closed.
Wait, no, I'm sorry, Catherine just said something.
Oh, I'm
about
sorry.
it. I
Yeah,
don't know
the
what you said.
former Guilford Butler School was slated for closure.
Oh, okay. The former.
Well, you should say it after they did a survey for consolidation of buildings in the new RSU 13. And several schools were slated to be closed and Guilford Butler was one of them.
That's a lot of words.
I know.
Or you could say something like through the,
Consolidation.
through the, establishment of RSU 13. Guilford Butler was slated for closure. You just kind of say.
Yeah, that would be fine.
A result of the
As a
creation,
result of the.
As a result of
the
the
creation,
establishment of.
Still in that first paragraph?
Regional School Unit 13.
Wordsmithing this first.
Okay, the
Yeah.
former Guilford Brothers School
Yeah, so
was vacated because of school consolidation.
that's, yeah.
No, we could do that too, and then cut it all out
Yeah,
and don't have all the minutia.
right.
so say it again.
Just the, end the paragraph after consolidation?
Yep.
Or the sentence, I mean,
Yeah,
The former
Due to
Guilford
the
Butler was.
formation of RSU 13, the former.
Due to the creation of RSU 13 in 2009, the former Guilford Butler School was vacated. Because of school consolidation.
Consolidation, yeah.
okay, so you're changing the beginning of the sentence, very.
Yeah, due to the creation of RSU 13 in 2009, comma, the Guilford Butler School was vacated. Because of school or due to, no, we already used due.
Due to the creation
Was
of
slated
RSU
to be,
13.
slated
Was slated.
to be closed.
Slated.
I don't like vacated.
Slated for closure.
It's closed.
Slated for closure, for closure. Okay, here it is. Due to the creation of RSU 13 in 2009, the former Guilford Butler School was slated for closure. Period.
Period.
so forget the consolidation.
Yeah.
But. Can I just make one small?
Of course. Up in the paragraph above, Jan, the last sentence. Sorry, let you finish that.
Facility that was.
Volunteers to promote education and creativity, so we get rid of that who
Volunteers promoted, right?
to, or, well, so. Devoted directors who marshaled a passionate army of community volunteers to promote education and creativity.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you did said that already.
Yeah, but we,
He missed
I may have
it.
missed it, yeah.
I
Promote
wrote it down.
education and creativity. Did I get it now?
yes, thanks.
Okay, and that first sentence now, due
Good
to
job.
the creation of RSU 13 in 2009, the former Guilford Butler School was slated for closure.
Beautiful.
That's good.
Period.
That's true.
Yep.
Town residents have been exceptionally involved in the events following consolidation. The Guilford Butler Futures Committee was formed to study the future of the building.
Where are you now?
Are you taking out town residents?
The bullet. Okay, the Guilford Butler Futures Committee.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Are you taking out the town residents were exceptionally involved?
No,
sentence?
I still
No,
have it in.
but, Jan doesn't have it on the.
Okay, we still have this sentence here, in this. Town residents have been exceptionally involved. Did that come out?
After Guilford
Yeah,
Butler School
after
closure?
closure, yeah,
Oh, okay,
we got that.
I took it out.
Town residents.
So do you want to add the word school before
Exceptionally involved.
consolidation?
In the events following consolidation,
What's the word, what, no, exceptional.
exceptionally involved.
Definitely involved
In the events following consolidation.
in the events.
I'll just say this, I think the first bullet is fine.
Yeah,
As is, does
I think
everybody?
they're all
I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
I just, the second bullet, I'm sorry to be such a
It
pain.
doesn't like the was slated or was,
I know it doesn't like was slated and
or
was.
was formed, yeah, for some reason.
What, the second bullet,
The committee quickly coalesced.
yeah, and then, so comments from public, the second sentence
Mhm.
should be, in general, comments from public input meetings we're in support or something like that, because
Yeah.
that,
I think
Is the
that's
first
true.
part of that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
The committee.
in general, comma, yeah, I'm just making grammar,
But it's consolidating and it helps the folks.
comments from public input meetings were in support. So take out general.
Yeah.
And can I just go back to in 2018, because technically it was a special town meeting. It wasn't town meeting itself. It was a special town meeting. I'm not gonna, and there was only 33 people there, but we don't need to
We don't
say
say
that.
either way, it just says
We-
town
The
formally.
town formally voted, but it was. That's why I'm asking, because we had a special meeting to accept the property, but we didn't get the property for 2 more years.
Yeah,
Right. I don't know, do we need special? Do you think we need?
I don't think you need to identify, they
Okay.
voted,
So it's not.
they counted.
It wasn't, it was a special town meeting, because it wasn't our normal annual town meeting. That's why I wanted special.
Okay,
Because if someone goes to the town meeting notes, they're not gonna see it.
okay.
So voted during a special town
In
meeting.
2018
Had a special
town meeting, yeah.
in 2018.
Mhm.
Don feels we need. You okay there? Don feels he added another bullet in that list saying the futures committee met 25 times between July 2018 and July 2019, including 3 public input solicitation meetings.
I thought it was a good point, but you took it out of this one, so that's why I crossed it
No, I
out.
think it's a good point.
It is because there was
shows-
diligent work.
It shows the diligence, so that's.
So which bullet was that? He wants to,
Second
a
bullet.
different, a new bullet? That
Yeah.
It was
a new bullet.
It was one in the other
It
version.
was after the first bullet, right?
Yeah,
So
he has it
ownership.
after the full first bullet.
Is that the place to put it? Because the next bullet says the futures committee engage local residents and architects.
Yeah, I think it should go after the second bullet, do you?
Well, the report indicates the school is, yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
Yep, I think they're, yep, I agree.
okay,
Other-
yeah,
Yeah,
that,
sure. We really only have another, have 2 pages and we're done.
So you're gonna put it under the futures committee
We're gonna
Yeah.
put it
or above the futures?
after, above. the
well, both of
futures.
those,
Because you're
Well, it's the
dealing with the
futures
futures committee, so that's why I'm asking.
We're putting it after,
After the first bullet.
after the second bullet and before the futures committee engaged local resident and architect.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is you met 25 times, so you did engage local residents, you're being redundant there. That's why I'm asking the question. If you're gonna, I think it's important with the finite numbers, but I think you need to kind of,
So where do you think it should be?
well, you could have the futures committee engage local residents and then period. The committee met 25 times between 18 and 19, what he has there, and then include the rest of
Make
it.
part of the
So
bullet.
it's part of the bulletin, the third bulletin. Because it doesn't make sense to have it stand alone and then say the futures committee engage local residents. That's all I'm saying. So
So are you saying that,
the third bullet point should say the futures committee engage local residents, period. And met, and then said the committee met 25 times
Well,
between.
I think the intent was to say that John Hanson was a
Well,
local resident and.
You're gonna get
the
to all that.
next bullet,
It's gonna be one bullet. So the futures committee engage local residents, or residents, period. They met 25 times between July 18th and 19th, including 3 public input solicitation meetings. Then you can say, architect, John Hanson.
that would be another bullet.
No, you just continue. John Hanson conducted an initial, and I would be conducted, not to conduct, conducted initial and then blah, 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 the rest of it. So it's all one bullet.
Okay, so futures committee engage local residents, period.
and met,
Yeah.
yeah, that works, okay. And then this, or.
And you're giving how much they met with local residents. They engaged a lot.
Right, and that's.
Don't lose that John Hanson was a local resident. though.
No, I didn't change any of that. I
didn't hear that.
I put in the list stuff, and then I start architect John Hanson conducted initial, and then just,
Local resident
Yeah.
and
put that
architect
in.
John Hanson.
it's not, it's,
Isn't he a local resident?
he is, he lives in Sprucehead. It's not here. I just said keep whatever was here.
They met 25 times between July and, yeah, including three votes this
We'll let
meeting.
Dan read the whole thing to us, and then.
Meeting, period.
Wants to do,
Architect,
I actually think.
architect John Hanson.
If you don't have local resident, you can put that in there,
Yeah, you should.
but it's not in this version.
It doesn't say local.
No,
You want to say local architect, is that it, John Hanson?
architect Joe.
Oh, yeah, just local architect. or-
Well, no, you can say,
Well, yeah, that's just better because you don't have to say resident.
Yeah.
If he's local, he
architect,
obviously lives here.
John Hanson.
Well, you could put it
conducted.
off.
And the rest of that is okay. I would just take out the footnote numbers. There's footnote numbers or,
he lives in Sprucehead,
I'm not adding those documents, so. I think-
maybe a mile
Yeah,
from your
you can
house,
copy.
but on the other side.
Okay, wait, should we read this whole thing once
Oh,
through?
we'll have to when we get done here, yeah.
Okay.
See, I'm not where he's got quotes in there. I'm not sure where that quote's coming from. It's substantial building with
Mark Becker,
brick concrete.
You're right.
local residents.
You could just say South Thomaston architect John Hanson.
He probably
It
would
doesn't-
like
it
to
doesn't
say,
need to be quoted.
probably
I
likes
know
to
he
have
said,
spread.
he said.
Yeah.
School was I can
He
just take
called
the quotes
Sprucehead
out.
like to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
called
No, I
I
Sprucehead.
think it does have to be quoted because you're repeating his exact word.
Do you think we have to quote it?
Yeah,
It says his report, so that's where the quote came from.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so
but
that's
you're
okay. It's still-
extracting verbatim, you're not paraphrasing.
But we don't need the footnote numbers. We're
No,
attributing it.
no, you just hit the quote.
Okay, keep the quote in. You wanna read it?
Okay,
see if I have
Bullet two.
another one.
that's okay. The Futures Committee engaged local residents, period.
Yeah.
They met 25 times between July 2018 and July 2019, including 3 public input solicitation meetings. Architect John Hanson conducted an initial preliminary assessment of the existing facility. His report, issued in September 26, 2018, describes the facility in some detail. While the report indicated that the school, quote, was a substantial building with exterior walls of brick and concrete block, unquote. The report also listed many deficiencies and raised several questions and or concerns. Period.
You just, need a comma after the quote of, after block.
Yeah.
Because it's while.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then take the
Uh,
footnote.
Yep.
You might, is it a semicolon or a comma there? Two sentences, it's a semicolon, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jen.
Two sentences.
Yeah, I didn't like
Semicolon. Yep, you're joining two semicolons, joining two
Two
sentences.
sentences.
Junction,
Doesn't like that either.
Really, right, and also.
It's a run-on sentence.
Just,
Yeah, it
just while the report
It's okay.
indicated, got rid of the word that afterwards. Everybody likes that.
I had a boss who was
That's
like,
me. I
don't
like
ever
that.
use the-
Whenever I
Right.
write somebody takes it out.
I take it out.
I know. You would think by now I would know to take
Okay,
it out, but I
next
don't.
bullet.
So-
No problem. Could have been-
Next bullet, Dean.
On July,
July 11th, 2019, the Futures Committee recommended a new building for the library and community center facility. And that a facility committee be created.
I know where that
That's
is.
okay.
And
To the first facility, period.
take the.
yeah, that's a run-on sentence right there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's-
Yeah.
okay.
Library and facilities center facility.
Be created.
Recommended a new.
Well, they
building.
recommended that a facility
building.
committee be.
And then you
created.
say a facility committee was created
Oh,
Be-
to the
plan
yes.
and fundraise.
Yep.
Well,
So we
wasn't-
do want to say the first one, a new building for the library and community center,
Period.
facility to be built.
No, you already said new building.
Secure facility.
Just say.
Maybe it was a recommendation from the facility committee. It wasn't
Okay.
formed then, because it had to be voted on by the town.
So,
Okay, a facilities committee,
but it was created, a facility committee was created.
Was created.
Yeah, it was created, right.
Plan-
Oh, not on July, you're saying not on July
it
11th,
was to be
2019.
created then?
Oh, wait a
Okay,
minute,
recommended
facility
new building
committee,
for the library,
As
would be needed.
and for a facility committee to be created. And for a facility committee, or you don't want
Facility
to run on
committee.
sentence. Okay.
facility co-
To be
The facility
created.
committee was to be
Did
created.
somebody say what they heard?
Yeah, it's like,
A facility committee to be created to plan and fundraise for the
It
same, which I
wasn't-
don't
you're saying
like.
It wasn't created that night, is what
No,
you're
It
saying,
was recommended.
It was recommended.
and recommended a facility committee be created, right?
That's
Okay.
good.
Okay, so
And, no.
So then it's right there, it's
So
recommended.
back to one sentence.
go back to one sentence,
Facilities. Any-
and recommended that a
And
facility
Yes.
committee be created. That's
Not that, just.
Just get rid of that.
Recommended a
See, I
facility
even
committee
talk
be
like that.
created.
See,
Oh.
To plan,
Business
all right,
And, but just have a facility committee to be created and take the rest of it out to the same and all that. I don't
recommend
like,
a facilities committee
that our role is
be
to.
created to plan and fundraise.
well, I don't like
For the same item.
plan and fundraise for the same. It's just not very clear.
So take out
So
for the
What do
same.
you have?
Well, a facility committee to be created. And I
To
guess
plan
we
and
can just go
fundraise.
back to plan and fundraise.
well, how about,
Go away for the same.
it was recommended a facility, oh, no, we said that we wanted to keep in one sentence.
Look what I got up there and see what you think.
I think it's
Facility would be formed.
Okay, since it's
I think
okay,
that
it's
should be
okay.
Formed.
On July 11, 2019, the Futures Committee recommended a new building for the Library and Community Center facility. And again, we say the word, and recommended a facilities committee be created
And
to plan and fundraise.
you can take out recommended and just say and a facility
Yeah,
committee.
take that second recommended out, I think.
And a facility committee.
Right.
Be
To be
created.
created to plan and
Well,
fundraise.
Plan and
maybe,
fundraise.
a facility committee, wait a minute, so let's see. A new building for the library, recommended a new, and a facility committee, just say to plan and fundraise, so take out to be created,
I agree.
or be created.
But
So the sentence would read. So Futures Committee recommended a new building for the library and community center facility and a facility committee to plan and fundraise. That is parallel construction.
Okay,
okay, so
Thank you.
you're leaving
I have
the
these things.
facility in there. I take it
yeah,
out.
so that stays.
You
Okay,
could say,
That's
you could take
gone.
facility out of that.
that, I did take it out because I
And a
didn't like it.
committee to plan and fundraise, you
Yeah.
could just do that.
Yeah,
You didn't want-
cleaner.
But. Take out the word.
And I
was
think
just
the
reading
next
the grammar.
sentence should start with as voted, comma, temporary.
The library was
temporarily,
located.
The library would locate.
Temporarily.
Relocate,
To
as
the
voted.
existing school building.
the library would temporarily relocate in the existing.
To the existing building. You're locating,
Oh, yeah.
you're going somewhere, so it's to the existing school building.
To be located.
No,
To
Very
the
good.
existing,
as voted, the library would relocate to the existing school building.
but it wasn't voted until 21.
That's right.
As voted in 2021.
So it's a new
Because,
bullet. It's in the bullet.
this was after our town meeting and we had a problem with COVID for the town meeting
Yeah.
in 2020. And we had to go to the hangar and we didn't vote on these two warrant items because it was
So
too
maybe-
much.
So maybe that as voted, that sentence should go with the next bullet.
Or it's
That's what I was just
its
gonna
own
say.
bullet, yeah.
Or, right, you could do that.
Just make it its own bullet, and say in 2021.
Yeah.
And it should, yes, you got
Yeah,
before
that
the
should
last
be-
bullet, it
That
should
sentence
come
should go in the
after,
last bullet.
right before that.
the one here that says temporarily,
Yeah.
as voted, the library would temporarily be located.
Yeah, I think that should go at the end of
Okay.
that last bullet.
Oh, yeah, there you go, that's even smarter.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we didn't do any of that.
They voted to adopt these recommendations. You
July,
put it
town
before.
voted to adopt these.
But we're saying as voted,
Yeah, and it wasn't done then, so,
No.
so you need to put it in this, that,
In the last bullet.
yeah.
Yeah, that does make it sound like it was done.
Or
Yeah.
as voted of 2020.
2021, that should be a comma, yeah.
Town voted to adopt these recommendations in the South Thompson Library Committee formed in the fall of 21 to begin the process. Oh, that's confusing. As voted. Yeah, I don't.
I don't think you need as voted.
In the meantime, you could just say, in the meantime, the library would temporarily relocate to the existing school building.
Well, it's on a contract with the select board.
As part of this process, the
Yeah.
library would temporarily.
With, and it was voted.
You just have all these suggestions.
I know, she's a word crafter.
She is, but I just like to have, make sure that it's correct
You
historically.
are, I love
Our
that.
historian and wordsmith.
In the meantime, the library would temporarily relocate
Two.
The existing building.
to the existing building.
Correct. In the existing school building. Yeah.
Maybe they school.
Okay, can we get through the next sentence without?
I do too. I think you should put, sorry, the existing school, oh, you did. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
school
Is that-
building.
That,
Okay.
unfortunately, no, the next sentence I have a suggestion. Sorry, but it's John's suggestion actually, because if it's incomplete, the town completed a structural yada yada. John said, add, which indicated the presence of several structural concerns that reports on
Oh,
file on
we
the
did
town
that.
website, and I think that's smart.
Yes, I do too.
Okay, is that a new sentence? Is that,
No, it's.
No, it's this,
Yeah.
which
oh, after the features report,
Yeah,
which indicate a blah, blah,
committee
blah.
report, which, okay? Thank you.
Are you moving that out?
Dedicated.
Yeah. Oh, it is a very good exercise.
My English teacher would be proud of me.
I just have to get home and give my husband medicine.
Oh. I only have one more suggestion.
No, it's best to get it all done.
It's gonna want a comma in between that. That's why it's blue.
Yeah, that's why I want it, right? Indicated the presence of several. Report is on file with the website. I think so.
Okay.
Okay, next sentence, the library community center. facility
Did Sherry have any?
Mary doesn't have anything on that.
Okay, I just thought he
No,
said,
I'm watching her. She's got a couple of- There was nothing there.
Okay, you got one.
Yeah, I got hers. So she. Nothing here. Okay, so she has. The Library Community Center Facility Committee appointed by the Select Board includes a cross-section of town residents. Across the spectrum of age, all that stuff. So she includes a cross-section of residents. That's better.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, that's happy to glad to me.
I don't know, I know we have residents, but it's not a criteria to be a resident.
No,
Well, but we're also, aren't we representing, aren't we
We
here
represent,
to represent constituencies in the town?
I like represents.
I think we have a purpose in that we're representing people like us that are in the town.
represents is a better word than.
We're on this one right here.
I feel like that's part of our mission is to represent, right?
Yeah,
Or your neighbors.
But I
or-
do like a cross-section of town residents.
Yes,
I like that.
that's already in there.
Okay.
Lovely.
Represents a cross section of the town across the spectrum. We use across twice there. Across the spectrum of age, years of residency.
cross-section and cross the spectrum. So do you want to clean that up without?
Yeah, I think you should eliminate spectrum because that. I don't think that's a good.
Cross-section of the town.
A section of the town.
Town residents. Town in age.
Yeah.
Instead of the spectrum.
Yeah. Sounds like
In
you're talking about
age.
autism.
So cross
Well,
section
now
of
the
the
gate's gone,
town.
I think we might all be closer in age.
Town residents.
The only the thing I have a problem with years of residency, we have people that are here 6 months out of the year. They
Yeah.
used to live here year round, now they live other places and they're owners of property, but they're perhaps aren't residents.
So
Well, I
let's
think
take it
she
out.
was saying
Years of
me, because
residency.
I've only been here for a couple of years.
Well,
Well,
you do want a cross section, I think, of that, but you want new people and you want the lifetime residents.
Right, but see, it's like, it's qualifying that you're only a resident of South Thomaston, and there are people that come from other places.
Oh, years
What
of
about full and
residency.
part, and we don't say part-time, but what would we say summer?
Fatlanders.
No, I find that really discriminatory, because Maine is flat compared to Alaska.
God, I love it.
Years of residency.
So what do you want to, okay, what do we want to say? Represents a cross-section of residents in age,
Section of the town,
diverse backgrounds.
semicolon.
So take out
age,
years of
years.
residency out,
Well, I'm trying to think
Excuse me.
of something else.
Okay.
What about?
just say
full-
residency.
full and
Yeah,
summer
Just say residency, because that's years of and when you're here. So
Okay,
just
Okay.
age, residency, diverse
Just
backgrounds.
put residency.
So
If
that,
you think of anything better, let me know.
Age, residency, that diverse backgrounds and professional experiences, town,
we
age,
kind of, I
residency.
think it should end after experiences too, I'm sorry. I don't know why we say education, architecture,
Yeah.
technology.
yeah, I
Yes.
do too.
Yes.
I own that one.
Okay.
You need to
Yeah, we
do
all-
diverse. I mean, it's like it's a
Diverse backgrounds and professional experiences, period, yeah.
across the
Yeah.
spectrum of age, residency,
I'll care deeply about that.
backgrounds. I mean, why diverse? And, I don't think it works.
So let's see.
What are you saying, Catherine? Wait a minute. I heard
Thomas.
something over there.
Okay, represent a cross-section of the town across, so the across, the spectrum of age, residency, diversity of backgrounds, but not diverse background.
Diversity of backgrounds. So we're saying, what we said before, that a section of town residences in age, residency, then we got two residences in there. That doesn't-
Cross
Yeah.
section of the town in age, so take out residents.
Residents.
What about a semicolon there and then start age, residency?
So, okay, changing.
Cross section of the town, age, residency, diversity of backgrounds and professional experiences,
What's
period.
wrong with
Diversity
diversity?
of-
I like diverse backgrounds and professional experience.
Professional experience.
But then you need to change the stuff of the structure. I mean,
Yeah, you just change the other part because it's a lot of that is
Who
already,
likes diversity? Who likes diverse? Diversity?
I like diverse.
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 But you need to
Diverse?
change the beginning, then I'm fine,
Okay.
as long as it's consistent.
You just have the grammar,
Yeah,
that's all.
Okay, well, help me with the grammar,
Okay,
what should it
so-
say then?
Catherine,
Kate.
what should it say?
I don't know, Kate, what should it say?
The library?
The cross section of the town, semicolon.
Yes,
Cross section of the town.
Semicolon.
and then let's start with age.
Age
Oh.
is a
Age,
descriptor, right?
Yeah.
And residency is a descriptor.
Yeah, we could say ages.
We could just say diversity. Or no.
I think you need to be
Yeah.
specific, backgrounds and professional experience, because they have two different things.
So, town. So what you're doing is you're describing the background, so, hard.
Well, then you say age range,
Right, so you can describe the
age range,
age range.
residency status. Vaccination.
Okay, we're digressing.
Yeah,
Okay, where's the leper colony? Let's go.
okay, I put the semicolon in there,
No, I know,
so age range is what you're proposing?
well,
I don't like age range.
But you need to have a-
I know what you're saying about residency, but actually, we're only talking about the committee and do we all live here year round? This committee?
I
Or we have
do.
people who
Yeah.
don't?
Or do you want to just say town by age, residency, diverse backgrounds, professional experiences?
yeah, I
Professional
think that's great.
experiences?
represents a cross section.
Well, I'm just wondering why we're bringing up residency if we all live here.
Because it's a qualifier that-
Town, which I think
But
so.
this is just a committee.
Right, yeah,
We're all here.
right. I think we don't.
So I
need
think the
it.
reason it was in here was because, like, when I joined, I'm the only one that hasn't lived here for a long time, so I think that's why, you know, we got newbies on the committee.
So do we need to get rid of residency?
So we just say represents a cross-section of the town with diverse backgrounds and professional experiences.
I like
Take out
that.
all the age and residency.
I like that because
That
Say
also
it again
feels
slowly.
discriminatory.
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
Slowly, Kate, say it again for our.
I think I got it.
Represents a cross-section of the town with diverse backgrounds and professional experiences.
There you go, that's even.
Because the other thing about age, again, is
It's
with Dave gone,
discriminatory.
we're really not that. We're not so diverse.
Well,
right now.
Catherine's young.
Okay,
You're
I'm
young.
younger, yeah.
You're
Well,
young.
not that young though.
okay, let's,
Trust me.
Okay, all care deeply about the town of South Thomaston and providing a new civic building that contributes to the future of the town's cohesiveness and resilience.
Yeah,
I think the next paragraph is very repetitive of things you said before.
But
But you tell me.
civic building would
The
contribute.
next one coming or the one I just read?
You don't need.
Yes, I agree with
We
it.
believe such a building benefits the town. Yeah, we don't need.
No,
You know,
We've
here's
already
what-
said that.
Sherry put as another possible last paragraph in that section, because when I sent it to the board of directors, I put in the question, what are the consequences if we fail? And she wrote, the committee does recognize that this project will require significant funding. There is a significant lift to achieving the objectives for a new facility in South Thomaston. Although the select board supports the initiative, it is not in a position to provide funding and will not burden the community with sharing any of its costs. This is why the auxiliary, the board of directors, the 501c3, has been formed to support the project and raise funds, obtain grants, and seek other sources of funding.
I
Yeah.
really do think that's important.
Yeah.
I don't think it's true. I think there are gonna be town
I was gonna
funds
say,
spent.
there's
I
gonna
think we're already doing that.
maybe undue
No.
burden them, maybe
Then-
undue burden of the, we can't say we're
It's a
not.
little
gonna-
bit
Nobody's gonna
conclusive, I
pay
think.
tax.
But her points are important because Janet, I disagree. We're spending funds, town funds on the current center. We pay for that.
Right.
But
So far, we haven't spent.
Those, the funds were donated.
Yeah,
all
we have donated
donated,
to the
everything that we have spent from here in the board of directors has been funds donated by other people. It hasn't, the town does not have given.
Didn't I just hear from John in a response to your email?
That nothing has been granted.
No, but the intent was to use some of the funds that were in surplus.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
okay.
other things, not this. I mean, he didn't mention this.
Or was it for
Because-
conservation or was it?
No, I had,
I thought it was for the,
okay, so the instruction here is, I read that Thomaston was still allocating COVID funds,
Mhm.
you know, and I say, and I'm like, wow, so do we have any left? And if yes, could some be put in the kitty?
Oh, okay.
Because it would still fit the bill, you know,
Good question.
good ventilation, building and so forth. And his answer is no, there is nothing left.
Okay,
And the goal was to spend it all to free eventual reserve for other projects. But he didn't mention this as one of the projects.
So maybe we just take
I
out,
just don't think we want to limit it, I guess is my point.
Right.
Yeah.
and I think maybe just taking out that sentence, let me read this again. The committee does recognize that this project will require significant funding. There's a double significant here, but I don't mind it. There is a significant lift to achieving the objectives for a new facility in South Thomaston. This is why the 501c3 auxiliary has been formed to support the project and raise funds, obtain grants, and seek other sources.
And I
of
like
funding.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna take out
I
that
like that.
and give it to you.
Wow.
and the reason it's important because it comes back to one of the questions that constantly comes up.
Yeah.
That, you know, things are gonna, taxpayers are paying certain
I
things
got a balloon, yeah.
and they're already paying
Yeah,
money.
they're already paying, and that's what people forget. Okay, so where are we? After that, we go to History. I think history of South Thomaston.
This is where the native acknowledgement. This is where I think the native acknowledgement should go.
Okay. But, yes, so where?
I don't have any language for it. Because here's what I was thinking. There's a Wabanaki Alliance. We should ask them what the appropriate language is to use instead of trying to guess or Google.
Oh, that's a good one. Very good point.
I think
I
we should
think-
say, we should acknowledge that we are on Wabanaki land.
Yeah,
I think it should be the second sentence in this paragraph. Located in a beautiful mid-coast region of Maine, South Thomas is an historic seaside village with approximately 1,600 residents. Originally Wabanaki land,
Yeah, they'll give us some
blah, blah,
language
blah,
about
blah,
that.
whatever that would be. For generations, I don't know how that goes with the next sentence, but for generations, I think the rest of it, I mean, I don't know what you think about the whole paragraph, but I think that's where the Wabanaki. Yep.
yeah,
I don't have any more suggestions actually in the rest of the document, but that, yeah, I thought this would be the right place to put the native acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Would you be able to get that? I will reach out, I'll email them. There's a Wabanaki Alliance, so my daughter showed it to me, so.
oh, nice.
History of South.
History now, yeah.
Okay, so the first sentence is fine, and then we think there should be some Wabanaki language in there. Yeah,
One starting with 4 generations.
yeah, before that, just, we don't have language, but
Okay.
originally Wabanaki land.
Well, actually, can you do it after for generations? Because the Wabanaki were also people who
Okay.
The
hardworking.
many hardworking people.
Lived off the sea.
Okay.
They made their living from the sea.
Okay,
Right,
Yeah, they're fishing.
so then, yeah,
the earliest residents, or not residents, I mean, the earliest
Inhabitants.
inhabitants.
let's see what they give us for language, because I think it's hard to put
Let's
in
just
if they
say,
don't know what
the
they're gonna
earliest
say.
Inhabitants and just go dot, 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 so that area
Yeah.
will be filled in.
Right. So Wabanaki.
Where do you think it would go after that sentence?
After the 1,600 residents.
You think
Okay.
after that.
Oh, I thought after for generations,
Oh,
yeah.
because
For generations.
not just white people have been harvesting the sardines and lobsters and scallops, but that's what
Hardworking.
probably the people who lived here before.
You could say for generations from the Wabanaki to today,
Since the one about,
hardworking
yeah,
people.
Yeah,
have made
starting
their
with the
living
one
from the sea.
let's do that for now.
For now, and then I'll see if they give us language.
Yeah, with the Wabanaki Alliance.
I like that.
starting with, what did you do?
No,
We did
now you're gonna get,
sardines.
how does Wabanaki?
You don't think they've been sardines?
No,
Well,
that was Rockland
E-N-A.
and Clyde.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, from generations, comma,
From the Wabanaki.
from the Wabanaki till today.
Oh, that's great behind that one.
That's good. Many shipyards and granite quarries dotted the shores.
Very cool.
Today it is
Shores and islands.
shores and islands.
Yeah, actually,
They're more on the islands.
hurricane.
Well, Clark Island, Hurricane,
Where are you
Dix
now?
Island.
So we got
Andrews.
the Wabanaki in that sentence, so we're, okay, so many shipyards and granite quarries dotted the shores and islands. We added island.
Stomach is gonna kick off.
God, the shores and islands, okay.
Today, it is also home to nurses, doctors, teachers, artists, architects, businessmen and women, farmers, brewers, chefs. In other words, a small town with an historic legacy finding its place in a changing world. My poetic self.
I know, it's lovely, I love it.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Is it okay?
Yes.
The community. Okay, here's your summer residence, so this is, somebody else put this in. The community is also populated by periodic residents who love the area and come for months at a time. All of whom can both support and benefit from this project.
My whole street is becoming periodic residence.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think
Well, it's just it's a new way of life.
intermittent residence.
That was the last thing.
That's the last change, I'm waiting.
Periodic residence.
I just don't like periodic residence.
Yeah, it's
I don't either, it sounds harsh.
I find it
Seasonal?
seasonal is probably better.
Yeah,
Seasonal.
So, you can't, look at the word of the "and" in front of historic, isn't it, shouldn't it be
And historic, I know, I can Google that, but I think it's and.
Yeah, right, everybody changed it on there.
Okay, because I thought it was the
H,
the next one begin to give the consonants.
yeah, but H isn't always considered a consonant, which is weird. It's like Y.
Really?
Okay, look
In
at
that situation.
Okay, everybody, we're getting to the end. Highlights, the new South Thomaston Library. This is sort of a sum up a little bit. So if somebody wants that in the grant, we got it in a bulleted fashion. So,
A modern, energy efficient building with systems that incorporate LEED standards.
so actually
Building
lead
codes.
standard, I did that and I would like, Gabriel to confirm.
you want language from Gabe?
You know, like Gabe or the architect to say that it's okay, because I don't want us to be committed to something that we cannot achieve.
It's a specific standard, yeah.
And I added emergency shelter because we didn't have that as one of our highlights.
Emergency shelter at the end.
Yeah, at the end,
Bullet.
as a bullet.
Yeah. Communities, okay, I mean, these are just repeats, but I think it's good to have it
Makerspace too many times.
2 times makerspace.
Yeah.
I agree.
Quiet reading spaces, busy makerspace, like, makerspace up above.
So maybe
Yeah.
we just do a makerspace, a place where people,
Quiet
and
reading
then
spaces.
quiet reading spaces.
Or you could say, and busy social gather, I don't know, but just, yeah, don't say makerspace.
And I know
I
this
think
is
just end it.
my personal pet peeve, but we haven't mentioned EV chargers, because that was something that we would have here.
I know, I almost mentioned it before.
I know,
And it's my pet peeve, but it's something that
I think we should
do it because we don't
So-
have anywhere in the town.
A modern energy efficient building with systems that incorporate high efficiency standards, building codes, and accommodates differently abled person. Oh, God, that's a lot of ands.
Mhm.
Modern building codes. I mean, like,
Yeah, are we not catching it in there? So
Able, accommodations.
No.
Should be able person.
We already say that.
Get rid of
yeah,
the
the
end.
systems that incorporate.
Yeah, I don't think you want to accommodate differently abled persons in the same sentence with all the energy efficient
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, I agree.
So how about a modern energy efficient building with systems that incorporate,
The latest technology,
yeah,
what did you say, Margaret?
the latest technology.
I agree.
Latest
I mean, I'm
technology.
always for Brother.
And then another bullet that says,
I have to read a lot of docs.
and a low carbon footprint, and then another bullet that says
Big
something about
bullets.
differently abled persons access
I was thinking of this community center space,
It would be net zero.
large enough.
flexible.
I
enough to
am.
fit
We could just
multiple
have
uses.
an inclusive charger put in my house.
Just, I know.
May I make a suggestion? An inclusive community center space that says everybody's
Yeah.
everybody's,
Inclusive.
Yeah.
just use the word inclusive.
I love it.
An inclusive
Good job.
community center.
Yeah.
space.
Now you don't have to talk about people's abilities or
No.
disabilities.
Buildings, I mean, bring comfy or tea or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
A kitchen that
And
can be
inclusive.
used for daily coffee and, boy, I'm losing my language, coffee and conversation and equipped to accommodate functions in the community space. Makerspace, a place where people with shared interests can gather to work on projects while sharing ideas, equipment, and knowledge for all generations, all ages and generations. Quiet reading spaces, emergency shelter. Those are the bullets, yes?
Okay,
Second bullet should be an inclusive, should be an N after that.
Yeah.
Now, the last reasons we need for you to get involved, Sherry changed that, and she had a good suggestion. Let's see what.
I would put a makerspace, a place where people of all ages and generations who share interests can gather to work on projects.
Oh, you're
People-
moving all the way down.
Yeah, I like that.
And I didn't like, once again, every resident, if you're qualifying it, I would just like, we would like everyone. To be inclusive of everyone,
She's, what's.
of their reasons to, for
Are
you to
people
get
gonna-
involved. We would like,
We're
it.
still, we're.
Oh, I thought we'd already
Mm.
done it, emergency shelter and moved on, sorry.
Almost.
Okay,
A place where people of all generations and ages, would you put
Of
that?
all ages and
Ages
generations.
and generations, it's not the same thing?
It is.
Yes, so of all ages
All ages.
who share interests.
That's better than generation.
With shared interests or who, yeah, who share.
Who?
Doesn't matter, that, yeah.
With shared interests. For all
Who
ages. or
share
shared
interests. Now, I'm gonna take the-
I think so.
Gather to work on, yeah.
I know who the editors in this group are.
Very good.
Maybe we should say something, we have common interests.
Well,
We share and sharing it.
how about
Then
common
the dash
goals?
after knowledge, and the words should go because it says for all ages.
People of all ages who
Redundant.
A makerspace
are with
for all
common
ages.
interests.
Yeah, common
Yeah, we've
interest.
already got that, but the one
Yeah.
phrase at the end, for all ages and generations at the end of that.
But I want to cut that out. I think it's
Yeah.
dangling down there.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you would take a makerspace for all ages?
Yeah, a place where people
People of all ages with common interests share.
Oh.
can gather, yeah.
Can take sharing projects, sharing ideas, knowledge, and then a period after knowledge.
It's hard work, I'm glad, you know.
I know, all our heads will make it.
Yeah, we're getting there, we're close.
Okay.
Hang in there. Okay, now we're down to the paragraph reading.
Reasons for you to get
for you to get
involved.
involved.
I would cross out resident and put everyone.
We would like
everyone.
everyone,
Yeah.
everyone, we would like everyone.
And that's consistent in our communication blurb that we put out.
We would like everyone,
Support the project by making a contribution toward the future of the South Thomason community and its future civic planning.
We say making contributions toward. Maybe we not just do one,
make the.
Making contributions.
Making
making
contributions.
contributions
Multiple
toward.
contributions.
Yeah, right, just I don't wanna limit, I don't want to put one contribution.
Toward the future of community
And
and
then in parentheses, you know.
Do we wanna use
labor
future
and
twice
money.
Toward the
future of South Thomason community and its future civic planning.
We don't need future civic planning, that is what, future of the South Thompson community, right, you just take that out.
End it there.
End it at community.
And take the S off of towards.
To support the project. by
Your
making
contributions
contributions
toward.
toward the future of
Toward.
South Thomason.
Toward, just toward, you can use them,
Toward.
you can use them interchangeably.
Towards a lot, but I guess I'm wrong.
But no, they're this, you can, use
Towards
them-
is a word, huh?
it's just a lot with the S on the end of contribution.
Okay, to become a participant in creation of a new library facility that incorporates the traditional educational values of a library while offering technical advances of the new generation of libraries, as well as serving as a gathering place and center for recreation, the arts, and education.
Where this person loves run-on sentences.
I think that's fine.
Believe me, I did the first version, so what,
Oh, did you do it?
I always think having a version of something is
Yeah.
better than having.
Some places.
You rip me to shreds.
No, I'm
No,
not
you
doing
need
that. I'm
it.
busting your chops.
You need
As
it.
well as a conjunction, you're fine, you're fine.
I like it.
Okay, next bullet, to make a place for young readers and their parents, as well as offering programs to create a culture of reading and learning.
Sure. And offering.
We say in their parents.
Should we have
As
a
well
period
as
at the end of all those bullets, or?
To serve as a haven for the community, providing emergency shelter, technological assistance, aging in place.
What's aging?
Yeah, what is that? I'm aging right now.
No.
Aging in place, what is it?
Staying, being able to stay in their home.
Yeah.
As you age.
But the library's not gonna help me save in my home.
Well, I'm thinking of things like telemedicine and stuff that,
Yeah, and
Could be
medical
provided.
workshops. and everything.
No, and if it goes to, yeah, it's not the place to put it. It's like if we have to write
Take it out,
something.
take it out.
You already
You
said
know,
mental and.
aging in place.
Just
Yeah.
in case of you living alone and me living alone, having the third place,
That's right,
that's
it
gonna
is.
allow us to stay here.
right.
And well, so we have contributing to mental and physical wellness, so that's, yeah. That's
So take
Yeah.
out aging in place?
Yes, no, it's not
So-
here.
Yeah, because we're not all gonna move into the community center.
We saw that building.
I guess kitchen.
I think it's an important thing because it's being, of concern, obviously.
I thought about that with my 6
But
acres. I
it's
can
not
do
the
it.
place to-
Well done, team.
Thank you. And you have a.
And I like we can create this together.
It's,
I like we can create this together. And I think that's a great line. I just want you to know that. It doesn't, and it.
yes, or,
Yes. Yes, yes. It's simplistic, but it says a lot.
So.
well,
Okay.
She's gonna stay there.
So all these others can go away.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
right.
You're gonna email them. Well, you can see that I keep every.
Yeah.
Final copy.
Yeah, please get rid of all the other ones, because they're just gonna continue.
So.
And it was online.
Well, I wasn't.
All of these can go, any of your drafts.
When I'd only been here.
I'll send this out as a,
When we got.
with a date, today's date on it.
Didn't know that. Because
Yeah.
if you wanna know really the.
Okay.
People,
so we skip the community work, right?
Yeah.
Are we-
Are we gone or?
Done?
Do we have more in the agenda?
Yes. Hold on 1 second, I gotta get the minutes.
We should wait till next time for reports from all.
Yeah, I don't have much.
I think we're still on.
Yeah, hang on to that.
So, we're gonna crash the date for the grant report.
We've written a few grants, but we've written the auxiliary and Candace, we've written 3 grants for startup projects.
We have 31 resources that we,
And just as private information for the committee, we went to. I
Okay,
didn't-
private, you have to turn off the machine, no. Do you want to turn off are we done with
Oh,
the?
no, we haven't adjourned, but I haven't, where's my agenda?
We're contacting our congressional offices with their discretionary funding, and those are big grants. So that's what we're working on.
That's in last month's, I put that in the minutes from last month, so it's not private anymore.
So I'm not sure what our next meeting date is, so we can't meet April 4th. The following week would be April 11th.
But why can't we meet? Because Moira is not there and she's not there
I
the
won't
week
be
after
here
that.
before, there'll be 2 of us out.
Yeah, so let's not do that, so.
And it doesn't matter, but can I just go back for a second? We're tabling all committee work.
We're tabling committee work.
I just wanna make sure, cause we
Yes,
didn't say
of
that.
course, you're right.
And then the workshop, okay, there was no public comments,
No public comments.
no correspondence.
no
Now,
correspondence.
next agenda.
The
Thanks. I just-
agenda.
You mark that I came in
I
late.
will
Yeah,
ask,
5:06.
are you all April or are you all?
Gotta find this document.
It's part of the rules for in a minute.
If I go for April 18th, is that a date that?
That's fine for me. Answer
Yes,
your
yeah,
question.
works.
Thursday.
No,
Thursday.
oh yeah, no. Okay, Thursday, third Thursday of the month,
might
it's
bring my
usually
girlfriend.
planning board meeting.
What?
Planning board, it meets on the third Thursday of the
Oh.
month.
Okay, so that's not good.
No, so can we do a Wednesday,
I can't do Wednesdays, so.
a Friday? Who's having
Well,
one day?
Afterwards.
Right.
Where? We don't have a third.
We went for the 11th, just Morris.
Yes, you can do it. Just Marshall will be back.
That was, yeah. Okay.
But again, you
We'll
know,
try
so.
for the 11th.
Okay.
So it's gonna be the 11th,
Okay.
Yeah, I've got to ask Eric.
and Kate will take minutes.
And Kate will take minutes.
But you know, I'm the one sacrificing all the time, the historical society meeting.
On the 11th?
Yes, it's the second Thursday of the month.
Okay, what date works for you?
Well, let's see, the Monday, the eighth,
The eclipse.
oh no, that's and you have a board meeting that day. And the 9th would be fine, the 10th would be fine.
All right, how about if I get some dates from Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just, and the following
To
week.
be announced.
I
Yes,
can't
to
do
be announced.
Mondays, but that's okay. I mean, everybody else can be here.
Right. I'll send out an email with a couple of dates on it from Terry. And then if you can all get back to me right away, and we'll take the date that most of us can come to,
Just as long as you have a quorum.
as long as we have a quorum, right?
Yep,
Okay,
without objection. you-
without objection, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Without objections, you don't have
Yeah,
to do
we're
that
still on,
in a second.
on Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, thank you all for.
Well, I sure hope I can make this thing save.
Oh.
You send it some, no, you're on somebody right now has to go away.
Or I wrote everything down.
Kate did too.
You know, I wish I learned.
I did
No, I
write a
just-
lot.
You know, I did this on Zoom and now I'm looking for someplace to save it. I can't find it.
All the way up on the left.
It's not there.
Is that what you use? That doesn't say fine. My niece.
Where are you looking?
Became a medical.
Oh, right next to
her, and then she can't see what that's.
Top of mine says this meeting is being recorded live.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, you're right. You see it on that one, don't you?
Yeah,
I can't see it, I guess, because I'm,
Oh, yeah, Jen, so there is file, there is a,
And then somebody.
oh, I see.
Okay, so this is a very nice video.
Yeah.
I just thought from conservation, you think down the road when you get.
Yeah, yeah.
You have photographs, you can
Well, I'm
do.
trying, yeah, Jeff, we asked him to go actually with his
Oh,
drawing.
see.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you something. I have.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. that's-
We've been working, you know.
I know you have, but I just,
Yeah.
just for something in the file
Yep.
down the road.
All right.
Thank you.
Wow, thank
I'm
you.
just thinking about it.
Well, that would have really annoyed me.
I mean, some people have donated generously. Who am I calling? I don't know who I'm calling.
You know, for that.